It is thinking. There we are. I think we're actually live now. Stephanie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, you know the answer to that question.
I do. It's the same answer. You need a new answer.
I don't need a new answer.
You need to be more original with your answer.
My answer is fan-freaking-tastic.
That's better than the other answer.
No. The answer, which
it's
is
not. It's overused.
I've never been better. It gets better every minute.
You're like a song that is needs to be stopped playing on.
It gets too much airtime, or is that what you're saying?
Yes, your catchphrase gets too much airtime.
I can't help it that my life is incredibly blessed.
Your life can be incredibly blessed. You just need a new catchphrase for it. New marketing. Come on.
New marketing, huh? Well, anyway, welcome to anybody who is catching this stream live today, or if you happen to be watching the replay. I had a wild idea just before I was just looking at my volume levels.
Are you shouting at yourself?
I am kind of shouting at myself.
Okay.
I had a wild idea just before we went live today. And what we've been doing in the past is the idea is like, hey, we're going to record Family from the Heart on a weekly basis on Saturdays. And Stephanie has all sorts of ideas about content she wants to create midweek. I have all sorts of ideas about content I could create midweek. And what I thought about today is like, okay, we're going to record an episode of Family from the Heart today, which we are going to record an episode of Family from the Heart today. But I didn't think, I don't like the idea that the stream is kind of in my mind prior to today. The stream is the video version of Family from the Heart.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a second. What if I just say that the live stream is just Cliff and Stephanie streaming live? And by the way, we just happen to be recording some content today, and it may only be Family from the Heart. And by the way, hello to Charles Vance. Actually, let me get rid of our lower thirds. He says, good morning from Houston. Charles, thank you for joining us. By the way, if you are watching on Stephanie's YouTube channel, which by the way is youtube.com/Stephanie Ravenscraft, or if you're watching me on the Cliff Ravenscraft YouTube channel, youtube.com/Cliff Ravenscraft, or Facebook profile for me or Stephanie, you can comment and have us interact with you live. So we would be delighted to hear from you. Feel free to post a comment. If you are watching on LinkedIn, we are not seeing your comments. So we are broadcasting live on LinkedIn, but I just want to let you know that we're not seeing your comments over here. If you want to interact with us and engage and us see your comments while we're streaming live, then feel free to follow us and pull up YouTube or Facebook. Right?
Fair. Yes.
Fair. Stephanie, what do we got planned today? What are we?
There is no
There
plan.
is no plan.
Why do you ask questions you already know the answers to?
What would you like to record first as a piece of content?
I don't know.
Do you want to?
I don't need to go first. If you're asking, like for Thriving Mosaic, I don't need to go first.
All right. Do you want to do a Family from the Heart podcast episode?
Sure.
All right. Well, let's do one of those. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my recording there, and I'm going to hit here. We need some Family from the Heart intro. So I got to find that over here. And here we go.
Welcome to another episode of The Family from the Heart, a podcast that is devoted to giving you a behind-the-scenes look into the lives of the Ravenscraft family, a family that has given up on the ordinary to pursue the lives for which they were created. Now, here are your hosts, Cliff and Stephanie.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Family from the Heart. My name is Cliff Ravenscraft.
I'm Stephanie Ravenscraft.
And we are back once again with another not so weekly installment, but we are here with some more content. Stephanie, how was Christmas?
Christmas was Christmas.
It wasn't the Ravenscranks this year. It was different.
It was different, and I don't think it's been the Ravenscranks for a while.
It's been a long time.
It's been quite a bit, and that is good. Although those made some fun memories.
Those were some interesting memories, to say the least.
But so we started our Christmas celebrations on Saturday, and I spent a good portion of the morning and the early afternoon making candy with Jacob, Megan's fiance. This has become a yearly thing for us. The first year it was supposed to be Megan and I, and with Jacob helping. He's like, I'd like to make some candy. And he said this year that it was just to suck up to me. It was just to get into my good graces that first year. And, which then he wouldn't have known that he didn't need to suck up to me. But anyway.
And now that he's done it, he's like suckered into this whole creating candy thing on it.
He enjoys it. He's not suckered into it. But that first year, it was supposed to be Megan and I, and Jacob wanted to, just be present and help a little. Megan took a nap on the couch, and it was Jacob and I. And then last year, they were living here because they were transitioning from their move from Bowling Green to northern Kentucky, and so we did it again, and the same tradition. Jacob and I made candy, and Megan took a nap on the couch. We gave her a job this year. She did have to work the whole time, and she complained about it. She's like, I'd much rather be taking a nap on the couch. But it's now our thing. Like, Jacob and I chose what candies we made. So we did that on Saturday morning and afternoon.
Which was, when was Christmas? Christmas was
Monday. And
Monday.
Christmas, yeah, so it was the day before Christmas Eve.
Gotcha.
And then later in the afternoon, my siblings and my mom came over and their families, and we did our ornament exchange, which this year, we always have fun. And I've taken it upon myself, probably in the last 5 years, to find the most ridiculous ornaments that I can find. And although this year my ornaments, they were just adorable. But everybody else is starting to pick up on this trend. And so the ornaments are getting more fun. And this year, and so we always have a good time. And there's a running joke to see who we can make cry. Because my siblings have a lot of younger kids, and guaranteed somebody's going to cry. They're not going to be happy with what they get. And
we should explain how we do this.
I will. Okay. So my kids who are older have this running joke on who's going to cry. And it's a fun time all around. So what we do is everybody brings an ornament, even for the small kids. So like my sister-in-law went out and chose all of their ornaments, but the ornaments that she chose for her kids, she chose them with their personality and their likes. And so it's like they chose their own ornament. I know that my sister takes her kids and makes them choose theirs. And which was fun because I make this punch for the kid, well, for everybody, but it's called Grinch Punch. It's this really Grinchy color green. It's just Hawaiian Punch, Sprite, and lime sherbet, but they act like it's a delicacy. And my sister used Grinch Punch to actually bribe my nearly 9-year-old nephew to go shopping for his ornament, and that if he didn't go shopping, he couldn't have any. And he's like, well, I'll go get dressed. I really like Aunt Steffi's Grinch Punch. So, well, they call it Grinch juice, but anyway. So everyone brings an ornament. I don't think you've ever chosen your own ornament. I choose for you. But, which was fun this year, I only had to choose 2 ornaments because all 3 of our children are adults.
And they brought their own.
And they brought their own. So that was fun. And then we number however many people are in the room. This year it was 20. So 1 to 20. Put it in a hat and everybody draws a number.
Start with, yeah.
Whoever has number 1 opens the first ornament. And they are all obviously wrapped and, packaged. But so whoever has number 1 opens the first ornament. And then number 2 can choose to steal number 1's ornament or open a new ornament. And so on and so on. Every ornament can be stolen 3 times. After the third time, that ornament is dead, and whoever has it owns it.
So so just so you know, making sure that I follow as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the first person that has number 1 has to choose one of the wrapped ornaments.
Yes.
And that's their ornament. They can't change it for anything.
No.
So, however, if that's a desirable ornament, the second person or any subsequent person, when they go, they could choose a wrapped ornament, which is an unknown variable, which if you get a Cliff or Steaphnie ornament, you do not want that ornament. That's the design.
There have been years where my boxes are the last one on the mantle or on the fireplace.
And we do that intentionally for fun and gag, and it's hilarious. Which surprisingly sometimes actually becomes a desirable ornament for some reason. I have no idea why. But or if you're up and you don't choose a wrapped ornament, you could look at anybody who's gone before, and if they have an ornament you would like, you could take that or steal that ornament, and then they they have an option. They could steal somebody else's ornament or take one of the unwrapped. And this goes all the way around, but a particular ornament can't be stolen more than how many times?
3.
3 times.
Yes.
But it gets pretty wild.
It gets pretty fun. And so this year, my 6-year-old nephew stole an ornament from my 3-year-old nephew, and the whole room collectively gasps, and we're waiting for the 3-year-old to cry because, my kids are waiting for somebody to cry. And that didn't happen, and my sister kept saying, he's fine. He, doesn't even understand really what's going on. And I think he ended up with that. Dinosaur anyway. But so that was fun. But the last round, you chose last, right?
Yeah, I was number 20.
You chose last, but you got stuck with the ornament that you opened. So how did I don't remember how it started, but we had the most active last round we've ever had. And it was so fun. And so my sister's teenagers were conspiring together to make sure that they ended up with
I did not pick I don't think I picked off of the thing. I think I stole somebody's ornament.
And then somebody
stole that, and then blah, blah, blah. And then they stole mine, and then I stole.
Okay.
And it kept going around and around and around. And finally somebody said, okay, I'll take the thing, I think is how it went.
Okay.
But I ended up with a can of Campbell's tomato soup ornament.
And I had an ornament that looked like a Matchbox car with flames coming out of the back. And my 3-year-old nephew wanted that. So I gave it to him, and I ended up with a sparkly Converse sneaker. It's pink sparkles. So I'm okay with that. Really am. But I told my sister, I said, I'll take your sneaker because Will wants my car. Nice. And but it's so much fun. And then on Christmas Eve, we had Christmas with our kids, and your parents came over for a little while. We went, and because so much cooking and mess was made on Saturday, I chose, kind of you and McKenna chose for me, but I was totally down for that, not to cook on Christmas Eve. We all went to the Waffle House.
Yep.
And had our Christmas Eve meal at Waffle House.
Invited my mom and dad.
Invited your mom and dad, and the 9 of us had, I think we had a good time. And then we came home and exchanged presents and had a good time. Then then we were forced to watch Children of the Stones.
You were the only one forced to watch it. Everyone else was voluntary.
I really didn't watch much of it at all because I was busy doing other things. But for the first time in 28 years, I was present in the room while it was on.
Yep.
And I feel like that's a failure. Like, I feel like I had worked very, very hard and intentionally to avoid Children of the Stones for so long. And that is now over.
Yep. And speaking of exchanging gifts, Stephanie got me an amazing gift, and she bought me the official soundtrack to Children of the Stones on vinyl record, which is absolutely outlandish, crazy, and it was probably one of my favorite gifts I've ever received. It is so obscure and out there that matter of fact, I was browsing TikTok, I think, one night, and somebody had shown that they had this vinyl album, and I'm like, check this out. And I sent it over to Stephanie, and so she's like, oh my gosh, I wonder if I can get that for Cliff for Christmas. And you did, and I didn't even know anything about it.
That's
and
funny
it was
because
a true surprise.
I'm sitting there ordering it like directly after you sent me that TikTok. You're in bed next to me. I'm like, he's gonna see my phone. He's gonna know that this is happening. But I'm like, nah, he doesn't like pay attention to things around him, so I should be safe. And
well, I really loved it. Children of the Stones is one of my favorite all-time shows. It's right up there with The Tomorrow People, which would probably be number 2 for me, and number 3 would be Doctor Who. So, and they were all things that I watched as a kid as British television sci-fi shows, primarily aimed towards older kids. So yeah, that was my Christmas. I enjoyed that. Now, all 3 of my children have seen Children of the Stones multiple times, and with Jacob, this is his second time seeing it. And
I'm pretty sure he said he has a better grasp on it now after 2 times. Is that what he said?
Yes. And then Bella, so Matthew's girlfriend, this was her first exposure to it.
Yeah.
And now I didn't have anything to say about this, but I don't know if you hear this, but there seems to be some momentum towards making this a holiday annual tradition.
Probably gonna have to veto that.
Stephanie's not too happy about that conversation, but I just want to point out, and I want you to confirm right here, I had nothing to do with that discussion or idea.
Yeah, no, I don't know how it came about, but this has been the plan to do on our Christmas celebration. Like, I'm almost all year.
Matthew has been.
Is it Matthew?
Matthew and Jacob had been working together. It's like, listen, Christmas Eve.
I think Jacob was like, if I have to watch it, Bella has to watch it.
I think so. But I think if you ask them, I think they might actually enjoy it.
I think they might be lying on your account.
No, I don't think they are. I mean, seriously. I mean, I wouldn't understand if they didn't like this. I mean, it's kind of an out there thing. If anybody wants to know what I'm talking about, all you need to do is go to YouTube and do a search for Children of the Stones, and then just put the word full, Full, because there's one person who went and put the whole 2.5 hours of all 7 episodes, part 1, part 2 of each of those 7 episodes, all in chronological order in one YouTube video for your viewing convenience.
Yes. So we did that on Christmas Eve, and then everybody headed home. Christmas Day, we had a pretty low-key morning, and then you and McKenna and I met Megan and Jacob. We had there's a Chinese buffet in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and so we went and had Chinese before we went to the movies and saw Wonka with Timothée Chalamet. And it was such a good low-key day, but I told one of the girls, I don't remember which, maybe both, that I think I've decided I'm either an eat-out girl or a go-to-the-movies girl on Christmas Day, but no longer both.
Oh, okay.
I just was gone too long.
Really?
Also, I've been rather busy lately, and it was just a lot of, I'd rather have been home in our own space.
So what if we would have ordered Chinese and brought it back on Christmas Day? Would that have been preferable?
Yes, it would have been much preferable. It was just the crowd, yeah.
One of the things that I've always enjoyed about Christmas is our very non-traditional approach to the Christmas holiday meal.
Mm-hmm.
That's our tradition has been Chinese or take and now I think Waffle House is probably going to be a staple as well.
I think so. This is either the second or the third year.
And we
that
used to
we've
do
done
Buca di Beppo, but they closed the location that's closest to us. Although we could do a Buca di Beppo over in Ohio still.
We could.
So we could look into that. So one thing that's unique, well, I want to talk about Wonka in just a moment, but one of the things that's unique for me is after, gosh, I don't even know how long, maybe a year off of keto. Has it been a year that I've been off of keto?
No, it's been since July, so half the year.
It seems like a very long time.
No, it was.
Oh, it was in Sedona? Was that this year? Did we go to Sedona this year?
Oh my goodness, yes.
There's no way that was this year.
It was. It was
in 2023.
It was this summer. Yes.
Seriously. That seems like a year and a half to maybe even 3 years ago.
No,
that's exaggeration. It seems like Sedona was definitely last year, like
but
2022 thing.
It was this year.
That's insane.
I can show you the photos.
You don't feel like it was that long ago?
No.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I feel like it was a long time ago.
Now that you say it, you're absolutely right. I remember the day, the minute, the hour that I actually sat down. It was our first night in Sedona, and
we had pizza.
And I had pizza that night, and I'm like,
delicious pizza.
It was very good pizza, but I had pizza that night, and that began
and then you said I'm gonna
half a year off keto experience.
Well, then you said I'm just gonna stay off keto for this trip.
Yep.
And then we got home and you were just going to stay off keto for the summer.
Yeah.
and then
and off keto started out with I'll allow myself to eat, some bread and some pasta and deep fried foods or whatever. It was, starting eating some carbohydrates. But man, did that spiral into eating some sugar and then eating lots of sugar. And I'm like, oh, what? I do not like this. And don't get me wrong. I like the taste. I mean, there's all kinds of things to like about the dopamine rush that comes with eating all of that stuff, but I just got out of it. It was too easy for me to get into some old habits, some old routines, and patterns of eating that were not incredibly healthy. And I thought, well, okay, maybe I'll just go through Thanksgiving, go through Christmas, and I'll wait until Megan's wedding's over, which is, in a couple weeks a couple weeks into January, and then I'll get back at it. But I was starting to feel worse and worse and worse. And what was it, 3 or 4 days before Christmas, I'm like, I think I'm going to go back to keto.
Yeah.
And I'm slightly leaning towards more.
Well, no, you were going to go low carb.
Low carb. That's right.
I
was going to go low carb, and I was going to stay away from sugar is the idea.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, if I'm going to go that far, why don't I just go back to keto? And if I'm going to go that far, why don't I give carnivore a try? And so I lean more towards carnivore right now than keto, but I'm not strictly carnivore. So,
and the funny part about this is that I'm actually leaning away from meat, and I'm eating more of a vegetarian type. And I haven't given up meat completely as of right now, but I am considering it. And
that's hilarious. You're considering giving up meat, and I'm considering only eating meat.
I'm aware. Yes,
that's so
I'm
funny.
Actually aware of where we are, but it's just, it doesn't, I don't know. There's a texture issue. There's, since we've had Leo, I'm becoming more, aware and emotional of like the personality and aspects of creatures. And I was headed to Target. I was behind a truck that was transporting pigs, and they had the purple spray paint on their back, so they were marked. I knew what they were marked for. I grew up on a cattle farm. Like, I know how this works. But I was emotional, and I was like, if I have this feeling when I'm at the grocery, I would not be eating meat. But there's a disconnect But now that I've recognized that there's the disconnect is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And so I felt better when I went to Chipotle with Matthew last night. I had the sofritas instead of having chicken or carne asada, and I felt better after. So it's just, yeah, as you're leaning into it, I'm leaning away from it, and whatever works for each of us works for each of us.
That's right. There's lots of opinions on there's the right way and this is the.
I'm not even. I'm saying what's right for me is right for me.
No,
it doesn't have to be right for anybody else.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like there's a lot of people with opinions about what you should not do and blah blah blah. But hey, you've got to make your, what is Cass Elliot? You got to make your own kind of music. You know, life is a choose your own
way.
Life is a choose your own adventure game. Speaking of which, by the way, formal announcement here. I'm getting ready to launch a new podcast in January. Starting January 6th, Daphne, Scott, and I are launching a brand new podcast called Life, the Ultimate Choose Your Own Adventure Game or something like that. It's Life, Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yeah.
But it's going to be geared towards an audience that are business professionals, career professionals, whether that be on the entrepreneurial path or the corporate path or whatever. But it's for professionals. But it's a focus on, hey, we want to excel to our highest potential in the work that we do in this world, but not at the cost of creating a life that we love and that's in alignment with our own chosen values, and it's breaking free from the conditioned values that we may have adopted without consciously thinking about it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Daphne Scott, you can go to daphne-scott.com. Eventually her website will house that podcast, and I think we're going to be streaming live on my streaming platforms. But I think I probably set it up to stream on hers as well. So anyway, that starts live on Mondays, and I can't remember the time, but it's going to start on Monday, January 6th. Anyway, just a little announcement there. All right, let's talk about Wonka.
I don't think the 6th is a Monday.
Oh, goodness. All right, so
is it?
Let me see if I don't know. I got to find my mouse. Let's pull this up here. Calendar. And January. Okay, so let's go here and here. Okay, so it's January 8th. Monday, January 8th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
Gotcha. You know how I knew that?
How did you know that?
Our daughter's getting married on Friday the 12th.
Okay.
There's no way the 12th can be Friday and the 6th can be Monday. It just doesn't mathematically
work.
Fair
enough. Yeah, so it's Monday, January 8th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And it's called, I can't remember the name exactly, but it's I know it's Life.
Yeah.
And it might be the ultimate choose your own adventure game or
something.
Choose your own adventure. It's something like that. Yeah. The artwork is all done and everything. Matter of fact, I might even have the artwork. Do I have the artwork? And if I have the artwork, I can actually confirm the title. So if I go over here, I go to Dropbox. Actually, I should have a link just to podcast images. And do I have Life listed here? Nope. I don't have it in here yet. Go ahead and say something while I'm talking, while I'm looking at something.
Well, the only thing that because you said we'll talk about Wonka, which we will. But after we went to the movies and saw Wonka, then we came home. We had just some downtime hanging out. And we watched a Hallmark movie before the end of the day. And it was called A Biltmore Christmas, with Bethany Joy Lenz from One Tree Hill. And I forget the actor's name. I would have to look it up. But I don't think Cliff should be looking something up, and I should be looking something up. So anyway, he'll write that down, and then we'll talk about A Biltmore Christmas as well, because it was fun. And now I'm running out of things to say just to fill the air while Cliff looks for something that he shouldn't be looking for while we're recording a podcast.
Well, I'm just trying to think.
Wanted to throw that out there.
So I'm looking in Dropbox because she shared a folder with
me.
me.
If I did this to him, the world would come to crashing down around him. That is true. Watch. You wait until you get into something, and then I'll pick up my phone and start looking for something. Okay?
All right. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to go. All
Perfect.
right. So you want to talk about... So you don't want to talk about Wonka yet?
I said after.
After Wonka?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about Biltmore. Christmas. All right.
Yes.
Let's talk. So we're going to talk about Wonka first, though.
Yes.
All right.
We
Stephnie.
saw Wonka first.
Okay. Well, that's not true. You saw Biltmore first.
True. But in the day, in describing what we did for Christmas.
Oh, is that the
Wonka
chronological order that we're going in? Is this is what we did on Christmas?
It has been. Are you not paying attention?
Well, I've written down the topics. I wasn't quite picking up on the fact that you're going in chronological order.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. So,
Wonka.
I have never in my life seen any more than 20 to 90-second clips of the Gene Wilder Chocolate Factory Wonka movie.
I think I've seen it all the way through once or twice.
I've been in the room with people who have been watching it. You may have been
where it happened.
I've been in the room where it happened, but and it's 90 seconds. Maybe I've seen 3.5 minutes. Maybe I've seen like an entire scene, and I've seen several bits and pieces of it. And all I know is that every single scene, and I've seen lots of clips, seen lots of glimpses into this movie, and there isn't a single 3-second plus clip that's ever piqued my curiosity or desire to see that movie.
Right. I never cared for the original Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
It was never a staple of my childhood.
And then I think the next big version was the Johnny Depp version.
Yes.
I do remember watching that, and I think we watched it as a family.
I think we saw it as a family.
And
I think we saw it in the theater as a family.
I think so. And I remember that being what I would call a popcorn movie. It was entertaining enough, but I can't remember. I certainly have never once in a million years had a desire to ever see that again.
No.
I can't remember it being anything where I'm like, oh my gosh, that was great. I just had no...
Well, that was Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, right?
It's still the same thing.
Well, I know, but that's what that was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's the Johnny. It's the Johnny Depp version of this story, right?
Yes.
So, it was good enough for the time. A movie I'll never want to see again in my life.
Right.
That kind of deal. Wonka, the new movie with Timothée Chalamet, was so awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I love that. It wasn't about the chocolate factory. It wasn't a retelling. It was a completely different story about his beginning in chocolate. Like his love for chocolate, where it came from, his desire to make the best in the world. Like it was about his love and passion for chocolate and how he created his business from there. Like it really was an entrepreneur story.
It was an entrepreneur story, and that I think is why I really resonated with it. And I tell you what really got me from the very first the first scene, and it was all about a dream. I've got this, and I've got this, and I've got this in my pocket. And we talked about how much money he had in his pocket, and I have a dream. But eventually, as he's going, all sorts of obstacles, all sorts of unexpected, undesirable, unpleasant, inconvenient circumstances led him to the place where he had no money, but he still had his dream. He still had a very clear vision of what he wanted to create. And nothing was, and his attitude and his idea of anything is possible was never diminished. That is what connected with me on the deepest level, and that story and thread all the way through for me, is what knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. I remember we saw the trailer for it for the first time. Well, the only trailer I ever saw for it was when we went to see the Hunger Games, Ballad of the Songbird and Snake, and I was like, I think you said that looks like a version of Wonka I would enjoy, and my response was, it looks more magical than thing I had ever seen. And it really was. And so there was this whole magic aspect to it, but it was his dream, and it was his relentless pursuit of that, and his optimism that he kept throughout it. And I and it's a musical. So if you don't know that going in, it could be a little bit of a surprise, because I don't think it needs the music. It wasn't. It didn't have to be that, but it was good. It was enjoyable.
It has what's his name from Downton Abbey?
Yes.
What was his name? The butler.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember what it is.
I can't remember either, but he plays. It's a good character.
It is.
It's so good.
Everybody.
And it's got Hugh Grant, who, surprisingly, I don't understand why, but he has been out there saying how much he hated playing this part of the Oompa Loompa, and I thought it was delightful. I thought it was one of because I remember the Oompa Loompas from the previous tellings, but this is the best experience of the Oompa Loompa story part of it. It's like, wow. I thought it was done incredibly well. Yes, it was CGI. You could tell it was CGI, but the dance and the
but it wasn't any less enjoyable.
It was brilliant. I loved it.
Yes. So I really enjoyed Wonka.
And quite frankly, I can't imagine another actor playing that particular role for that part. It was awesome.
It was very good.
Wonka. That, you know what? I would see it again.
I'd watch it again.
When it comes out on streaming, I would sit down and watch that again.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. It was a good time.
Awesome. All right. Biltmore Christmas, Stephanie.
So, a Biltmore Christmas, I went through to great lengths to get access to the Hallmark Channel this year. Obviously, we canceled our...
We went through great lengths. You said, Cliff, will you text your dad and ask him for his password?
Okay, you don't know...
Great lengths.
You don't know what I did that led up to that.
Oh, okay.
Because you can't actually pay for a service to...
Yes, I know.
I did more research than just asking you. That deserves a kick under the...
Oh my gosh, I'm moving away.
That was rude. You don't know what I did before I asked.
I did not know that you did things before you asked.
Clearly. Anyway, I did finally find out how to get access to Hallmark Channel just so I could watch this movie. One Tree Hill is still one of my favorite series ever. I absolutely love that show. I watched it from beginning to end. And so when I saw that Bethany Joy Lenz, who plays Haley on One Tree Hill, was in this, I was like, I've got to find out how to get the Hallmark Channel so I can watch this movie. It was... Now, please know, I'm going in watching it expecting a Hallmark Christmas movie. They have a certain reputation. And this was like no other Hallmark Christmas movie I had ever watched before. And I would say it was the best Hallmark movie I've ever seen.
Okay, so I want to share my thoughts from my perspective.
Okay.
I had no idea who this Haley person is from One Tree Hill.
Well, her name is Bethany Joy Lenz. Haley is the character.
I understand.
But yeah.
But it had Jonathan Frakes.
Did you know that going in?
No, I mean, I knew it when you because
yes. You saw it when Jane and I watched it the first time.
I watched so Jane and you watched it a couple days before Christmas.
For those who don't know, Jane is McKenna.
Yeah,
we personally call her Jane.
So you guys watched it a few days when it was streaming, when it was live. And I had already had plans to go downstairs and do some work. I was in the middle of a project and I wanted to work on that. But before I went downstairs, it had just come on. I'm a huge fan of the Biltmore estate. So the whole reason, number one, that I was even interested in the first place is it's a Biltmore Christmas. A movie filmed at the Biltmore is right up my alley. I've personally been to the Biltmore at least 15, 20 times in my lifetime. I've taken our entire family there. I don't know, 9 times?
I've only been there like twice.
What? That is not possible.
3 at most. Yeah.
How is that?
We went at Christmas with your parents.
Okay.
And I've been one other time, and we went in the summer when they had the glass sculptures.
Yeah,
a couple of years ago.
You've only been there 3 times?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I don't know what family you're taking, but that must be from an alternate universe.
Maybe. Well, I remember, the thing is, my mom and dad took me a lot when I was a kid, because going to the Smoky Mountains was always a thing for us, and usually there was a trip to Asheville, North Carolina, which is the drive through the Blue Ridge Mountains. Such an amazing, it's like, that's a spiritual experience in and of itself.
Okay.
And just to tell you how much I love going to the Biltmore, I went down for like a personal retreat for a week down to the Smoky Mountains myself. And one day I drove myself from Pigeon Forge area. It's outside there, Sevierville. Anyway, I drove from Sevierville to the Biltmore just to go there myself. And it was so awesome because it was thunderstorming. It was like really like tons of lightning and some of the most voracious, loudest thunder you could possibly imagine. And this going through the Blue Ridge Mountain Gap. And I stopped at this one area in the rest area because I couldn't see through the window. It was pouring. But man, the sound and just seeing it, delightful. Anyway, I love the Biltmore. And so when you said it's a Biltmore Christmas. And so as I'm getting ready to go downstairs, it's getting ready to come on. And immediately I see the Biltmore. But then I see that it's got Jonathan Frakes. And I'm like, I almost want to watch this. So I think I watched the first 7 minutes or so. And I'm like, that looks good. And I figured, well, hey, if it's on again, maybe I'll sit down and watch it with Stephnie if it turns out to be a good movie. But given the fact that it's a Hallmark movie, probably it's okay for me to miss this. Even though it's got the Biltmore, even though it's got Jonathan Frakes, maybe not. But it did catch me enough with, I'm going to say, a little bit of a sci-fi element. I won't say much more, but a sci-fi element. So when I came back, I'm like, you guys were raving about this movie. I'm like, I'd watch it again if it were to come back on. And you looked it up, and that it was on Christmas. So I sat down and watched it, and I really enjoyed that movie for what it was. I mean, it's a Hallmark movie, but it's the best Hallmark movie I've ever seen. And given the sci-fi flavor to it, and the fact that it's at the Biltmore and that it had Jonathan Frakes was all really cool. Now, you had looked at the trivia on IMDb, and there's some trivia about the room number that was chosen, and it was very intentional to be an Easter egg. And the episode that it's referring to, there's an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where number 1 alludes to the fact that he was the general manager of the inn at the Biltmore estate.
Yes.
So that was in Star Trek The Next Generation.
I know.
So part of me likes to go into this thinking that this whole Hallmark movie is a holodeck program. And what we're witnessing,
that's too far for me.
That's fine, but
it's not.
I'm speaking to my fellow Star Trek The Next Generation fans. I just want to say you could go into this.
You say that as if I'm not a fan.
Okay. Well, then I want to talk to my diehard Star Trek The Next Generation fans. Just go into this Biltmore, the Biltmore's Christmas, as though you are literally sitting down and viewing a holodeck program.
Okay.
It has that vibe to it.
I'll give that to you.
Awesome.
It was fun. It was very enjoyable.
What else? Anything else that we want to share?
No, I think we had a very good Christmas. Our stuff will start coming down on Monday. And our living room will be drab again. And I say that jokingly because I absolutely love the way our living room looks from November to January.
Yeah.
And but also I want to do changes in the living room, and so hopefully, like, getting it all down, I can start pushing my agenda a little more heavily. Nice eye roll. I appreciate it.
Ow, stop kicking me.
There's two. I owed you one. She rolled away. But no, it was a very good holiday. They're different with adult children. They everything from, waiting from them to get to, from choosing a day that everybody's available to, waiting for them to get to our house and, waiting for them to leave. It was a very good holiday, and I think that it all went fantastic.
I agree. All right. So real quickly, we want to make some mentions of Stephanie's podcast, Thriving Mosaic. You can find that at thrivingmosaic.com. If you have a hard time writing out or spelling mosaic when you're typing it out in a browser, you could just go to stephanieravenscraft.com and click on podcast. And then, of course, I want to encourage you to check out some of my shows, my main show, The Cliff Ravenscraft Show, or any of my other shows, which you can find listed over at cliffravenscraft.com. Click on podcasts, and you'll see a list of shows that you can consume. And with that, I think we're going to wrap up this episode of Family from the Heart. And until next time, we encourage you to
live your life with purpose.
Mindset Answer Man.
That's one podcast down. What do we want to record next?
I don't know. Where you want to go?
You want to record an episode of Thriving Mosaic?
That's fine.
All right, ready? On your mark, get set, and...
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Thriving Mosaic. I'm Steaphnie Ravenscraft. Today, I am doing things a little differently. This podcast is actually being live streamed today, and I am joined by my husband, Cliff.
Hello, everybody.
And there's a small plan, as in I have an outline of the things that I jotted down because I was going to record a podcast before Christmas that got put off because of Christmas things, because of wedding things, because I was too tired to do any things. And so I have a pre-Christmas list that I can that I have to run off of. If you want to hear what we did for Christmas, we just recorded that on Family from the Heart. Do you know what episode number that will be?
I can look it up for you. Hold on.
That'd be perfect. Also, you'll know in the episode of Family from the Heart, I shamed him for looking things up while we were recording podcasts, and this time I asked him to do it.
So it was
Yes,
Family from the Heart, episode number 443.
443, where we shared all...
I'm going to title it A Wonka Star Trek Christmas.
Okay. You do that. It should be a Stones Wonka Star Trek Christmas. But anyway, that's just too big. So, here are some things that I have been doing.
Oh, how about with stoned children? A Wonka Star Trek Christmas. I'm going to write that, with stoned children.
Okay. If anything, it'll get attention.
I just wrote that down. That's the official title right there.
All right. That's bad. Okay. It's not bad. It's funny. But now you have to listen to understand what it means. So here are some things that I have been doing. I think my last episode of Thriving Mosaic that went out was actually my interview with Liz, which is still, let me tell you, my favorite episode of this year. So if you haven't listened to that, I would encourage you to go back and listen to episode 61, maybe, which is, I don't know. It's the one before this. It's an interview with my friend Liz Deckel. She interviewed me for my own show. It was so fun. Favorite episode of the year. But here's what I've been doing between then and now, which today is the 30th of December. I spent all of December decluttering my house. The best thing about this was that I was talking about how overwhelming it all was, probably towards the end of October. I was talking to Megan about how overwhelming the whole idea of decluttering this house was. So number one, it's not all my stuff. And, number two, it's a big house and I'm one person. And why should I share the sole responsibility for decluttering the entire thing? That just, bleh. Anyway, Megan took an empty calendar for November, for the month of November, and wrote out a room by room plan for me to declutter this house and have it done by the end of November. Not all of it got finished. The mudroom, there's a closet in the workout room that didn't get done. And the garage is not finished, but a big portion of the garage is done. But I need Cliff's help, and he just kind of ignored me when I said so. And you can laugh, but that's what happened. So, and then when I pull out my Christmas decorations to put the stuff away, I will redo that under the stairs closet, and then it will be done. Okay. And so I decluttered this whole house in the month of November. I think that this room, the spare room right here downstairs next to you, this room has been a storage closet. It has been a guest bedroom. We've had a couple of guests stay here and stay in that room. So it's been a guest bedroom, a storage closet. It's been an office. It's been so many things. It's currently designated responsibility in this house is a storage room. It is a place for us to store things that don't go in the garage. They don't go anywhere, but so that they have a home, they go in that room. And that works for me. Everything is easily accessible now because we've gone in and we've cleaned it out. We've got order to some formal attire that was the girls that, hasn't been claimed or whatnot yet. Megan's wedding dress will probably get stuck in there at some point. But for a time being, because their apartment doesn't have room for it. And anyway, so we did some decluttering, I did a bunch of decluttering through the month of November, and that was really my sole focus for all of November. When we got to this spare room down here, I was so excited because several years ago,
all of November or all of December or all of both?
All of November
okay.
was decluttering. But we didn't get to this room together until December. But that was the last holdout. And but when we were doing this spare room just a couple of weeks ago, I found the receipt and the proof of care package for a wedding set that you had bought me in 2016, I think, for for our 20th anniversary. And in 2020, because it was right after the close of Fred Meyer, there was a Fred Meyer in our Kroger. That's where it was purchased from.
Is that the set?
No, this is my original.
Okay.
This is what you married me. Well, that's actually not accurate information. If I take it all apart, this is what you married me with.
Ah.
And this is what you bought me a year later. And this is what you bought me after I had Matthew, I think, is how that goes. But this is my original set, is what I've been wearing a lot lately.
Okay.
So but the one that you bought me for our 20th anniversary, a diamond fell out of the side. It's one of the tiny little detail diamonds on the side of it, but I couldn't send it in for service. Number one, our Fred Meyer closed, and there is not a Fred Meyer around us for like 6 hours. Like, it would be a 6-hour drive to get to a Fred Meyer. And so I contacted them about the steps to go through to get it repaired, because we did pay for the lifetime care package. And I had to have the receipt, and I could not find the receipt anywhere. I don't know if you remember, but I had you look through the safe. Our safe. I had you look through our scanned receipts, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So when we cleaned out this room, I found it.
Where was it?
I don't know. It
Okay.
was, there is a baggie that is full of the care packages and receipts of any jewelry that we bought from Fred Meyer. That baggie was stuck in something in that room.
And now you know. Now you have it.
Now I have it. Now I know where it is. I've already initiated the repair. I have the repair approval and the shipping label. All I have to do is package the ring and ship it to them to have the repair done. It's all printed. It's on my desk. It's just a post-holiday thing. So I'll deal with it next week, and or this coming week, before we get rid of all of the cardboard that's in the garage. Again, I just did this before Christmas, and now and it's not full of Christmas cardboard. These are extra purchases that we've been making. There's been a lot of stuff coming into our house lately. Anyway, so I've been doing that and working on decluttering. My brain power, so much of my brain power has been delegated to the wedding. We are 13 days out.
Okay.
It's 13 days from today is Megan's wedding. And we are in heavy DIY mode. Like, everything, signage, everything has to get done soon. We bought a veil, but she doesn't want to wear it as a veil. So we've been working on she wants to wear it as what people are calling wings. So we were working with that. I made marks on it, so I knew like where to cut and where to sew snaps and all this. And then she didn't like it, and we had to start over. And so we came up with another idea, and then she didn't like it, and we had to start. So finally, I'm making a cut today, because once I make a cut, it's done. But we finally figured out how she actually wants it, and I can start getting that done. We have signs that we have to create. The welcome sign is the big thing. It's the big thing in that it's the most amount of work. So that's happening probably today. There's just been a lot of brain power that is delegated to the wedding. Even when I'm not working on things, I'm still thinking about things that I have to work on, and working that into my regularly scheduled life. And so that's been taking up a lot of now that Christmas is over and we'll get this wedding done, and I will have my full brain power back. I'm like, what am I going to think about then? Like, what am I going to focus on then? And I know what I'm going to focus on.
What is that?
Me. Just me, my work, my goals, me. And so the wedding has been, we're right in the crunch time. Everything is coming together. It's time to start making final payments. It's happening. I got my dress has been at the at the seamstress because it needed some alterations. And I got it back last week. It came back the same color that I dropped it off as. And this is a big deal because I had a bad dream that it came back yellow. and it's not yellow. I'm wearing a hunter, I would call it a hunter green. But it's a very dark green. It's absolutely gorgeous. Tried it on. I love it. I'm going to start packing my day of bag because we're getting ready at the museum. So I'll start packing my day of bag probably today because I have things that are just floating around my closet that need to be put in this bag so that they're all in one place. And anyway, so that's been taking up a lot of time. Yes. Cliff's writing me notes. I think I understand that note, and then the answer to that would be yes.
So since you referred to the note, because I had written it out
so that I wouldn't. But
I'm sitting here thinking, I think that, continue sharing everything you want to share here, but I think you could do a whole separate episode on what it means for you to focus on me after the wedding.
Oh, I'm going to, because I had a really powerful day on Wednesday, right? Yes. In that I had some very awakening realizations about myself. I think that would you say, like, I've shared it with you. So would you say that is, okay, I've had some very awakening realizations about myself, and that will be its own episode. It will be my next episode. It will not be live streamed because I need to be just in my, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Is for it to be the next episode?
Yeah. I was thinking when you're finished wrapping up anything about that.
Well, that's cool because I wouldn't mind like talking that out with you.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to go get those notes.
That's fine.
They're on my desk upstairs.
The folks who are watching live on the internet, by the way, you should mention. Oh, you mentioned it.
I did. This is being live streamed. I did start with that. So, anyway, I have on here that we did Jacob and I made candy. I was going to talk about all of that, but I already did all of that on Family from the Heart, and I've already said, go listen to Family from the Heart. So I'm going to leave that there. One thing that I didn't share on Family from the Heart is this one particular candy that I made with Jacob. I made in remembrance of my grandmother, my mom's mom. And when I was growing up, my grandma loved bugles. It's this triangle corn chip. They're absolutely horrid. And that's a her word. That's a Marge word. Horrid is my grandma Marge. That's a Marge word. And I'll use another large. I can't even say it. Abhor them. Like, they're nasty. And that's one thing about my grandma Marge. She always used big words. She really loved her vocabulary. And but I saw this candy when I was scrolling Facebook or Pinterest. I was just playing around looking for things to do different because I didn't want to make all the same candies that I always make. So I was looking for something different. And this was so you take a bugle and you fill it with peanut butter and dip the end of that in melting chocolate. And then you can stick an M&M in them if you want, and you cannot that's up to you. I stuck an M&M in like every other one that I made. And I made this as a remembrance to Marge, and I explained it to a couple of my siblings. I don't know if they all, heard or saw what the bugles were about, because I don't think Erin would be old enough to remember. She might. Trying to remember. No. Oof. Okay, 17. Yeah, she might. Anyway, but that's some bad math. That's some quick math. I had to remember how old Erin was when Marge died, and I think she would have been like 9 or 10, if I'm doing my math right. Anyway, but I made this candy as a little remembrance to her because of the bugles. And it was fun. And I told, my sister April, and she's like, I had I remember eating them, but I was too young. Like, it was just a snack that was offered, so I ate it because it was not like I was too little to know whether it was good or gross. And I'm like, oh, they're gross. And but April is 8 years younger than I am, and then Aaron is 17 years younger than I am. So I had been eating Bugles for a lot longer than they had, and they're gross. Eventually I stopped and I ate my grandpa's Pringles, and that was okay. But anyway, it was just a fun little thing. I don't know if my mom noticed or if I told her that they were there or what they were, but that's what they were. So it was fun and it meant something. And Bugles are still gross. Even filled with peanut butter and dipped in chocolate, they're still gross. So we've had that. It really did not feel like Christmas to me this year because so much brain power is being devoted to the wedding. I actually had if Christmas Eve was on a Sunday, we started our Christmas celebrations on Saturday. I think on Tuesday of that week, I actually had to tell myself, you have to stop doing wedding things because you have to do Christmas things. There were things that I had to wrap my presents. And these are things that never take me this long to do. I never wait until 4 days before Christmas to start wrapping my presents because I love wrapping. It's something I really enjoy. And they came out gorgeous this year. There's a picture somewhere that Megan took for me of all of. I like to make my packages all match. I have a theme for my paper and my bags. Like I really, it's something that I put a lot of thought and care and love into. And I was really happy with how this year's came out, especially because it wasn't my original plan. I had to come up with a whole new plan because I couldn't find a kind of paper I was looking for, but it came out perfect and I absolutely loved it. But it didn't feel like Christmas until like Tuesday or Wednesday before Christmas, even though my house has been decorated and all of these, because so much of my thoughts and my work and my actions have been going towards wedding stuff. So I'm was glad to have such a good holiday when I really did have to mentally say, you have to stop doing wedding stuff right now and start doing Christmas things. So, but one thing that I did do Christmas week that was for the wedding, Megan and I went shopping with Bella, Matthew's girlfriend, to choose her dress for the wedding. And it wasn't that, it was just a good girl time. And Bella is not a wear dresses on a daily kind of girl. And I love that about her. She knows what she's comfortable in. She knows, what her style is, and that's perfect. But she was picking out a dress to wear to the wedding. And I told her she could wear a pantsuit. Like, I don't care. But Megan and I went shopping with her to do this. And it's another thing that I love because it's another part of being intentional in my relationships. I'm intentional with how I'm intentional in the in-law that I want to be. And while Matthew and Bella are not married, they're not engaged, but they do talk about being married and they do talk about being engaged. So she is part of our family. And I treat her as such. And so we just had such a good time. We went to lunch afterwards. And, if I got excited, a year ago or whatever that was now, when she came out and talked to us when we had dinner at her work, I was more excited that we spent, half a day together shopping for the dress she'll wear for the wedding. And it was just such a good time. And then this happened in December, and McKenna came to me and she says, "Mom, I want to get a tattoo." I said, "Okay, cool." Yeah, I have several tattoos. I'm not going to shame her for getting one. This would be her second. And she said, "But Mom, it's going to be a tattoo for you." And I said, "Okay." She said, "But I'm not going to tell you what it is." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so I had to wait until, and I think she told me that like, I don't know, a week, 5 days before, whatever. But I had to wait for several days for her to get her tattoo and then for her to come home and show it to me. So McKenna got a tattoo. She wanted it to be, I don't know, what do you call that? Honorary? I don't know. Like mine, I have one on my forearm that is a remembrance for my nanny, who is my dad's mom. And I've been thinking about adding to that and putting something there for my mom's mom as well. But it's not something I have done. And so it was just weird for me. She wanted to get a tattoo for me. I'm like, I'm still here and I plan to still be here for a very long time. But she's like, I want to get a tattoo for you, but I don't want it to be obvious that it's my mom tattoo. And I said, okay. And so she's like, I got an idea. I know what I want, but I'm not going to tell you until I get it done. I said, okay. So she comes home from her appointment. I'm like, how did it go? Because she was worried about the pain because it's bigger than her other tattoo. It was going to take longer. And she said it went really well. And I said, good. Am I allowed to see it now? And so on her, I don't remember what arm it's on, but on her wrist area, like where I have my Minnie Mouse free tattoo, is where McKenna got hers, and it is a beautiful snowflake. My maiden name is Snow, and so she got her mom tattoo in this beautiful snowflake, and I just am kind of speechless about it. I love it, and am a little emotional about the fact that I don't know, out of all of my kids, I thought McKenna would be the one who was like, I'm just done. I'm out. I'm done. I'll never talk to my mom again. And that's the complete opposite of what has happened. And
since she has been moving to, well, like as she was preparing to leave for college, she has become just as clingy as Megan, like clingy in a positive, like,
yeah,
rewarding parent kind of, like, wow, she kind of digs us.
She really
kind
does.
of way.
She really does like us.
Yeah.
So there one night this week she was out hanging with her friend, and she's like, hey, what are you guys doing? And I said, she said, are you watching Big Bang? Because that's what show Cliff and I are currently watching, The Big Bang Theory. And I said, yeah, we are. And she asked what time we were going to bed because she wanted to watch an episode with us when she got home, but she wasn't getting home until, like, we would have had to watch 2 more episodes without her to wait for her to watch one. And I'm just like, I'm too tired to do that. I can't do that. We'll have to do that another night. And, but that's what's been going on. That's what's, why I'm not, that's why I haven't been recording podcasts. Well, that's not true. I've been recording Family from the Heart at least every other week for a little while. And I'm making these wedding things, and I'm being with the people that mean the most to me. And, it has been good, but I am so excited about 2024 and having my own brain back. It's going to be, I don't know. I honestly don't know what I'll do when I only have to think about my things. That'll be weird. Another transition.
It'll be good.
It will be very good. It will be very good. But that's what I've been up to. That's what's going on around here. At this point, every day is a countdown to Megan's wedding, which again is 13 days away. And it's exciting time. It's a very exciting time. So thank you so much for sticking around, for listening to what's going on in my life. And if you want to hear what's going on in 2024, tune into the next episode of Thriving Mosaic, because I'm going to share that.
There you go. That's done.
Perfect. That's done. Okay.
Do you want to run out and get your notes?
I do need to go get my notes. This can go in the trash.
All right.
And I think McKenna was texting me, so I'm going to take a look at that as I'm walking.
All right. will you bring down a grape Zevia?
I can try to remember that.
Awesome. And I will go here, and I wonder if I can figure out, let's see here, where this is all coming from. So let me see if I can pull up Facebook. Bear with me as I deal with some stuff here. So facebook.com, and let's see if it is under my account. There's the live stream. So if I go here, live now, 1 hour. Okay, I see it. So we go in here, and what we want to do is, first I want to do is go here. So what I want to do is now go in and do here. Okay, more. None of that seems to be an option. I'll explain what I'm doing in just a moment. But there we go. So block, confirm. Alrighty, so I just blocked so-and-so. Now what I want to do is I want to go in here and ban from the stream this person. And now what I want to do is go in and delete this person's comments because they are not up to the standard of the environment that we want to create in this community. So that person has been banned from the stream. There we go. Okay. That's been cleaned up. I just noticed that there was somebody in there. This guy wrote, he just wrote some very inappropriate and not so pleasant things. So not exactly what we were intending for our viewing audience. And I love the fact that we have the ability to have some layer of control over that. So far, by the way, on our live stream, we have, real quickly here, shout out to Charles Vance. I saw all of your comments. Decluttering is good for the soul. You had done some stuff and sent some things off to Goodwill. I see that. You mentioned scanning the document. We definitely will get that scanned. And bugles are an acquired taste. Yes, absolutely. I didn't want to interrupt Stephanie's flow since she was recording her episode of an audio podcast for that. And then Troy says, whew, made the cut. So, Stephanie, I was banning and deleting comments from somebody who was very inappropriate. And Stephanie is back.
Now I want to know what they were saying.
Oh, like, this dude looks like he's wondering, why did I leave something in the fridge? And he was, and because I was sitting here just writing notes, and you're recording your podcast. But then he got into start writing some inappropriate things. And then I was making, I was doing something, but I wasn't actually making any remarks as to what I was doing until after I had officially blocked him from my Facebook account, and then I banned him from the chat, and then I deleted all of his chats. And so Troy says, hold on, let me, Troy says there, whew, made the cut. And then Charles Vance says, haha. So there we go. There's Charles. Hello, Charles. Charles is watching on YouTube. So is Troy. Cool. Got some YouTube viewers. All right, hide comment. So next is another episode of Thriving Mosaic.
We can do one of yours if you want.
Do you want to?
Yeah. I mean, if we're just going to sit here and do this, it's not like...
Is this fun for you? I mean,
yeah.
Do you like this better than what we've been doing? Like,
this is fun.
Like the live stream isn't a podcast.
Right.
The live stream is just the live stream.
And there's some days where the live stream can still be the podcast.
Yeah,
but there's some days where the live stream can just be the live stream.
Well, the live stream won't be just the podcast, though.
Right, no.
The live stream will be the live stream, and we're only recording one podcast, and this is the purpose of the live stream today. But in my mind, there's a difference because for some reason, there was something in my mind that says, okay, this live stream is the podcast episode, which is, it's like, no, it's like, because I haven't hit record yet. And
Right. Are you writing down like timestamps? No.
no, they're not timestamps, just an overall
You'll
what was covered in the episode.
No,
So-
I'm just saying, like, when you have to go back and...
Oh, no, I'm start and stop.
Oh, are you starting and stopping?
So
Okay.
you'll see the recorder is not recording right now
I wasn't paying attention.
on the Roadcaster. I need to go to my calendar and see when my next episode of Train with Cliff is. So it says here, time for a new Train with Cliff is on Monday, but I can record another episode today. By golly.
You can let it...
Oh, what?
It's still recording.
Is it still? Oh, well, I'll just, okay.
I was going to say you could let it go out on Monday. Go ahead.
All right, here we go. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Train with Cliff audio journal podcast. I don't know what episode number this is. I could look it up, but it's not that essential. I'm actually recording this episode live on the internet, streaming with my favorite person on the planet, Steaphnie Ravenscraft. Steaphnie, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I have never been better. It gets better every minute of the day.
Blah.
Oh my goodness.
Dude,
What the heck?
you're over there banging on the thing. You're knocking stuff down.
You knocked my
I
computer
did
speaker
nothing.
over.
I was sitting here minding my own business.
That'll work.
And you banged on the table
I'll clean it all up later.
with your canned response.
What? It's not a canned response. It's a well thought out response. And before I ever speak
It
I
was
have
well
to check
thought
in and make
out
sure that
once.
I'm being authentic to
Gotcha.
that statement.
Okay.
And right now that I am authentic to that statement.
Fair enough.
So we're streaming live. Couple of exciting things here. One of the things I love about this podcast. Oh, by the way, Troy says this is like the OG live show Thursdays.
Yes.
That's exactly it. Multiple shows,
Yep.
live stream. Let's bring the. Where's DG at? It's time for another episode of EOTC.
That's funny.
Anyway. What?
You're banging on the desk again.
I am banging on
What
the
are you
desk.
trying to knock down now?
I don't know. Your Coke Zero, maybe?
Please don't.
All right. So one of the things I love about the idea of doing Train with Cliff every now and then on the live stream is that it's like there's no concern whatsoever for format. This is like the freest form, freest flowing content you could possibly imagine. Now, I got to think, though, what did I talk about in the last episode of Train with Cliff? Because it wasn't even a week ago yet. But I'm pretty sure, actually, I'm not going to do the pretty sure thing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to click over here and I'm going to find out what I talked about because I don't want to rehash. What are you checking your watch for? You getting a text message?
I think someone's trying to call me.
All right. So I did a lot of Notion database obsession talk. And then I did more talk about my coaching card deck, so I'm not going to talk about that. And I talked about a $5,000 bonus from one of my clients. So, with that being said, I know what not to talk about in this episode. But it's end of year. One of the things that I will mention is that my $12K paid in full payment from the most recent client that I onboarded came through. And so sure enough, this month has been so far a $34,000 month. I was projecting a desired $36,000 this month, so I'm $2,000 shy of that. I do have an offer out to two people for $1,000, and both of them said, yes, I definitely want it. The question is, will that come in before Monday the 1st? Now, I could write a follow-up email to those two individuals. That's a possibility. And another option is I could write an email to my entire list, create a special offer that's for $1,000 and see if, a handful of people respond to it, and that would make up the difference. Or I could just say, you know what, is it so important that I hit exactly 20K per month average, or is, whatever the average is now, 19,800 per month or whatever the average is isn't that just good enough? Is there some reason why I need to go do something? Does that make sense?
Yes.
You were not paying attention to a word. Tell me. So Stephanie, who was texting? Who was trying to call?
They were trying to schedule my laser hair removal.
Oh, okay.
Tried to call. They texted. The date that they texted doesn't work for me. So I responded with that. Megan and Jacob are watching on Facebook, and they said, "Did you just finish Family from the Heart?" And I said, "No, we just finished Thriving Mosaic, and now we're on Train with Cliff. We did Family from the Heart first." And they said, "Oh, okay." They said that just now.
Awesome. So my next topic here for Train with Cliff
So
is...
I heard some stuff about money, and I heard, why do you need to do anything else?
Yeah.
Why can't it just be? But I don't know what it just be.
So you know that I've shared, that I share the details,
Right.
the behind the scenes stuff with the audience, and that there were a couple months this year where income had dropped to a pretty significant low, given the fact that I had allowed myself to lean pretty heavily into the expectation of paid in full payments because it seemed to be a trend that more and more were doing that. But then I wasn't filling my pipeline for a while, and so I had 2 or 3 months this year where a paid in full payment didn't come in. I still had clients on board, but it was a new client at $1,250 a month, which doesn't bridge the gap of my monthly expected recurring revenue coming in from subscription payments, given the fact so many people have paid in full in the past.
Right.
Monthly recurring subscriptions are, understandably where they are. So my thing is that it's like, wow, I'm not used to making this low of an income in a given month. Who's texting now?
Megan and Jacob sent a picture of themselves listening.
Gotcha. Okay. Hi, Megan and Jacob.
I put a heart on it.
All right.
And Maggie.
I'm going to put a Faraday cage around this place and those cells. Of course, you'd still have the Wi-Fi.
Maggie's absolutely loving
Hi,
it.
Maggie. Hi, Maggie.
Maggie is just, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, if the thing is this was so far this has been a $34,000 month. So that's how much revenue has been.
Yes.
That's how much new generated revenue was brought in. 2 of those are paid in full, $12,000 payments. So, and then there were some other payments that came in on top of that, and we had our recurring revenue. So $34,000. So what I did is I have a spreadsheet where I have all of the monthly revenue from each month individually. And since it's December, I just highlighted all of those in the spreadsheet, and it gave me the total sum. And I'm only $2,000 shy of $240,000 of business revenue for the year. Now, if it was $240,000 of business revenue, that means I still averaged $20K a month in the business this year.
Correct.
In spite of the things that occurred through, the
Right.
bumps and
Right.
bruises, if you will.
Because some months were bigger and some
the ebbs and the flows.
Yeah.
Right. So my thought was I was shooting for a goal of $36,000 this month. I'd like to bring in an extra $2,000 more before the end of the year, and it would be officially $20K per month average. And so I was just talking about, as you were texting back those things, I was just saying, and it's not important that you heard everything, but for those who are not aware of the prior situations, I basically, it's not important for me to say it's still $200 shy. It's still approximately $20K per month is what I've averaged. But with that being said, if I want to say officially I hit, an average of $20K or more per month, just over $20K a month, all I need is $2,000 more to come in before the end of this weekend. And I was thinking, I've got 2 people who have already committed. Yes, I'm going to send you $1,000. And 2 or 3 days ago, I sent them the link to go ahead and check out. They haven't done it yet, but it's between Christmas and New Year, so I totally get that. So I was saying one thing that I could do is I could send them a reminder saying, hey, any chance that you'd be willing to, process this before the end of the year? If not, no big deal. First of the month is perfectly fine. But I could send that reminder off, which might incentivize them or encourage them to make that payment, and that would solve it. And I said another thing I could do is I could just make up an offer, send it to my email list, and have a handful of people sign up for it and be done with it. But then I'm asking myself, it's Saturday. Do I really need to send out an offer? Do I really need to reach out to these people? Do I really need to hit $36,000 this month? Is it that important? And I'm coming to the conclusion, now that I've said it twice, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't think the only part of me that would say, you know what, I am going to go and send that message out is the idea that I want to be some sort of completionist, or, you know, some sort of, it's got to be perfect, it's got to be exact. And I'm just not feeling that. And sending the reminder emails wouldn't be a big deal. But I think I'd rather send a reminder email, if a reminder email is necessary, to those two people that, hey, I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope you had a wonderful New Year celebration. Kicking off the new year, I think it's going to be great for you to be able to go through this building an online business course. And I'm looking forward to working with you here in the next couple of weeks ahead. Because what I did is I gave them the offer of, you can get Building an Online Business, the online course version, for $1,000. And if you complete it within 45 days, you can have a complimentary one-on-one 90-minute coaching session with me. So I'm going to wait until after the first of the year for that. And I don't want to send out another offer right now, because I don't want to fill my coaching slots with, things that I was doing just to meet a small income goal, when my focus moving forward is really reserving those spots for people who are genuinely the most likely to be ongoing long-term clients at least $12,000 a year or more. And I'm going to be focusing very heavily on asking for referrals. And when referrals come in, I'd rather have those coaching slots open for complimentary sessions to coach referred clients who are a great fit, or most likely to be a great fit, rather than give those sessions to somebody who's just made a $1,000 payment and who is the least likely to be an ongoing client on one of my high ticket offers. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Sweet. All right. So the next thing is that Stephnie and I have been doing live streams on the weekend, and we have had, a different approach each time that we've done it. And today was a little bit unique in that it feels like the old school vibes. In fact, Troy Price just wrote in here. He says it's like the OG live stream Thursdays, where prior to going live today, Stephnie and I have been thinking, hey, we're going to stream Family from the Heart live on Saturdays. And then I'm like, okay. But the idea for me today was, what if we just stream live? It's just Cliff and Stephnie streaming live. That is actually what you're getting in the live stream. And we may just record some podcast content as we do it. So today we did record an episode of Family from the Heart. It was episode number 443. And we talked about, the title, by the way, is a Wonka Star Trek Christmas with Stoned Children. That's the title of the episode. No kidding. I'm literally going to publish that episode this afternoon, and that will be the title. And if you want to know why it's called a Wonka Star Trek Christmas with Stoned Children,
You have to listen.
You have to listen to the episode. And you can find that at familyfromtheheart.com and look for episode number 443. After we finished recording that episode, then Stephnie recorded her one of her most recent episodes of the Thriving Mosaic podcast, where she shares what she's been up to since her most recent episode of that podcast and the kind of behind the scenes of where her focus has been leading up to and through Christmas.
Yes.
And so that's there. And now I'm recording Train with Cliff audio journal, sharing with you just randomly what's going on. And here I am doing that now. And then Stephanie's, after this, going to record another episode of Thriving Mosaic, where she's going to talk about what her vision of her life will be in 2024 post-wedding.
Post-wedding, which is a completely different, it's, I just can't even really wrap my head around what that will be like, because it has been, well, literally the wedding, and I'm not saying this in any kind of negative way, because this has been it's been one of the most fun things that I have done with Megan and with Jacob. But Megan and I have done most of the DIYs together, but so it's been one of the most fun things that I have done, but it's been all year. And even before they got engaged in January, and even before then, it was her dreaming about what her wedding would want, what she wanted to be when she got engaged. And it was, so because we knew that it was coming, there was so much wedding talk prior to them being engaged. And then the minute that they were engaged and back from their vacation, we really hit the ground running. We started touring venues, and so much of this year, even when we weren't actively doing wedding stuff, we were still thinking about wedding stuff. And so to have my own brain back will be like really cool.
It will be very cool. And I'm excited. I've got a sneak peek into and a glimpse of what has given you a little bit of momentum lately with 2 different programs that you've participated in and invested in. And I'm eager to listen to this next episode of Thriving Mosaic. And since I'm talking about it, I'm going to give you episode numbers. So if I go to thrivingmosaic.com, so episode 62, this is 062. This was
That's right.
443. So Stephanie just recorded 062. So she's going to talk about her next season and some exciting new insights into her own experience in episode number 63. So thrivingmosaic.com, look for episode number 63. All right. The next thing that I want to talk about is my skepticism about a particular way of having or ordering a suit or tux for an event.
Let's please do that, because I really wanted to end with the words, "You were right." So please talk about your skepticism and how I was right.
Was it you that was right, or was it Megan that was right?
It was both of us that was right. So if you want to say you and Megan were right, I'll accept that at the end.
Sure. Well,
so go for it.
Here's the situation. So Megan, about a month or 2 ago, was like, "Hey, Dad,
Actually, it was way longer than that. And you were like, "Can we put it off to December? I want to see if I can lose some weight first." I'm like, who decides on October 31st? Actually, that's not the date. That's just something I'm throwing out. But I'm like, who decides in October they want to lose weight before a January wedding and wants to rush to do that in 6? Anyway, go ahead. But yeah, Cliff does.
Yeah. So anyway, you and Megan were like, "Hey, we need to get you in, and we're gonna get you fitted for a suit for the wedding because you're not allowed to wear khakis and a t-shirt for some reason." I still don't understand why, but
I shouldn't have to describe that this wedding is a certain, like, there's a vibe going on, and your t-shirt and cargo shorts don't meet the vibe.
They're not cargo shorts. They're khaki shorts.
Do they have pockets on the legs?
On one leg.
Then they are, in fact, cargo shorts.
I don't know the definition of cargo shorts.
I'm giving it to you. It's the shorts that you're wearing.
Okay. Fair enough. But I'm thinking, I paid for this wedding. I should be able to show up in my normal routine. I'm totally kidding.
I know you are.
So anyway, I did. want to know, it's like, hey, this wedding is a few months off. I'd like to wait till just a couple of weeks, maybe 6 weeks before the wedding, and see if I'm not a little bit lighter than what I currently am now. I'd hate to get to the wedding and then I'm, at least I look like I picked up a bunch of baggy clothes out of the Goodwill store or something. I don't know.
It'd be better than a t-shirt and cargo shorts.
I wasn't gonna wear t-shirt and cargo shorts, although.
Do you own anything else in your closet right now?
I do.
You're right. Workout clothes, and those also are unacceptable.
I had no intention of attending this wedding without a suit.
I'm giving you a hard time. That's what makes recording podcasts with me fun.
For you, that's what makes recording podcasts with you fun for you.
Yeah. And
besides, this is not Family from the Heart. This is Cliff Ravenscraft.
You invited
Audio
me.
Journal podcast.
You invited me. That's on you, dude.
So, anyway, Megan was like, okay, the typical thing: go to Men's Warehouse or go to some other clothing store and rent a tux or rent a suit. And Megan is an official wedding event coordinator, planner, and all this other stuff for Premier Parks over in Cincinnati. And she has witnessed a lot of weddings that unfortunately had some significant issues where people were showing up, and there are all sorts of issues with suits and or tux as a result of screw-ups at these particular institutions. But she had heard about
also turnaround time.
And
they're
issues.
coming. Yeah,
issues. So the big deal was that, or the thing that she had heard about is this place called Generation Tux, and she's like, hey, everybody that's done this has had such a great experience, and what you do, and this is the skeptical. I'm like, whenever I've had to rent a tux before, I go in, they measure my legs, which my legs are super short. All right, I'm telling you, there's never been a time on this planet where anybody pulls a thing off the shelf and says, "Here, what's your waist size? Here, put these on, and it fits." No, let's cut off about 4 inches off the bottom of these, and then let's hem it up the other 1.5 inches, and let's hem that and. Here, try it on. Look, they fit now. I don't know what it is. I'm 5'7". I don't think that I'm like short by just typical average standards, but I do have shorter legs than any pants. I've never purchased a pair of pants, even at my lowest weight. My waist has always come with standard.
Well, I think that they just don't make that length. Because even a 29 is too long for you.
Yeah, I need 28 would be the longest.
And they don't make that.
And if they had like a 27.5, that would be like about perfect. But nobody makes that length ever. I've never seen it. So here's the idea. With a Men's Warehouse or wherever you go to rent these suits and tuxes, they measure you. They get it right. They measure you once. They measure you twice. And it's like somebody who does this for a living. This is like their gig. They do this all day, every day. I'm like, I've never had a problem getting and renting a suit or tux that did not fit. So, but Megan's saying, hey, there's been issues. And it's been an increasingly thing issue. And she's having a little bit of anxiety around that, given the fact that the idea for many people, the men in her wedding, would be ordering from this place. So she's like, Generation Tux. So the idea is like, Dad, all you do is you go in there and you just ask you a couple of questions. Like, I don't know how tall are you? Are you male, female? How tall are you? How much do you weigh? And like one other measurement, like 1 or 2 other measures. It's like the most basic thing, and we're measuring ourselves, right? So we're literally we're actually measuring my waist.
I think we did give your waist and your inseam.
Yeah. But we're measuring it. Like, it's like, where do you start? That is like, do you squeeze? Do you leave it taut? Do you do this? You know, somebody who does this all day to get the right results, I trust their judgment on their measuring skill, because literally, I could actually.
The people measuring you are not the seamstress or the tailor who are going to be doing.
No, but there are people who are routinely doing
people
it
who
for
are
the seamstress.
hired off the street who are saying, "Here's how you do it."
Yeah, but they've been doing it so many times that they've screwed up a couple of times, hopefully, and now they know not to hold it, pinch it, and tell you to suck in
According to
your
Megan,
gut.
they keep screwing it up and they're not learning.
So the idea is that, here we are, measure yourself at home and just dump these into a little thing, and boom, we send you your tux, or we send you your suit. And it's like, okay, so the neck is supposed to just magically fit. The arm length of the shirt is supposed to be just magically thing. It's like the gut, whether or not you're going to pop a couple buttons and put somebody's eye out. You're really writing a lot on me measuring my own things. And you don't even ask me some of this stuff. It's like, how is this going to be right? So in my mind, that's how I'm thinking of it, right? But Megan's like, one of the things we love about this is the suits and tuxes always come at least 2 weeks before the wedding. And the place that we're ordering from is in Louisville, so it's just 2 hours away from us. And you have 2 weeks to try it on. You try it on immediately. And if there's anything wrong, you let them know. And there's 2 weeks to get that ironed out. Well, we put my measurements, our own personal at-home self-measurements, into this online system. And that suit showed up a couple of days ago, and I put it on, and it's a perfect fit.
And Matthew showed up yesterday.
And it's a perfect fit. The only thing is I don't know why, but they gave me it's a clip-on tie.
It's a pre-tied
I know how to tie a tie, people. So
I have decided that I'm still waiting on them to answer if they can send me a regular self-tie as opposed to the pre-tied clip that you have.
But the tie that it did send is a little short.
And that they only have the one length. They don't make a longer tie. So if they cannot send me a proper self-tie, then I will take your pocket square and I will go buy you a tie.
Gotcha.
And if I can't find a tie that matches the pocket square, then I will buy you both.
What do you mean buy? You mean both? Oh, a pocket square
and
okay.
a tie.
Yeah.
So, yes.
That's fine. But the thing, I do believe I have a longer torso than average. So I don't know what happened there. Anyway, but Generation Tux, Stephanie and Megan were right. It's a good deal, and I will
also. Yes, it was also cheaper than.
Oh yeah,
it was also quite a bit cheaper than Men's Warehouse.
And I love the fact that if you find something that you like, you can actually buy that suit from them. Mm-hmm. Anyway, you and Megan, I'm going to say it one more time. Are you ready?
Yes.
Megan, you were right. Stephanie, you were right.
Thank you.
And from now on, any special event that I go to that I need a suit or tux for, I will either rent or buy from Generation Tux.
And because
and this is not sponsored by them.
It is not.
Although if you'd like to pay for a portion of Megan's wedding,
go ahead.
I would not be opposed to that.
So you and Matthew, we ordered both of your suits from Generation Tux, and then Jacob's dad and his brother ordered their suits, as did the groomsmen. So Jacob got his for free.
Nice.
Yes. Very nice. Anyway.
Awesome. All right. The next topic that I want to talk about, and that is the fact that I am back on the keto lifestyle. And Stephanie and I were talking about in a previous podcast. Was it Family from the Heart that we were talking about that?
Yes.
So if you've listened to episode 443 already, you've probably already heard this. But that's okay. I'm going to share it here for the Train with Cliff audience. I'm opening up my habit tracking app. And what I can do is I'm already going to go in here and I'm looking for keto. So keto friendly day. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it for today because I know for a fact that I will have a keto friendly day. Today is my 13th day consecutive that I've been back on keto. I am in full ketosis now. And I forgot how good I feel on keto. I don't know how I forgot, but I did. And yeah, it's just feels really good to be back. Now, one of the things that has kind of inspired me was I came across a number of things talking about the carnivore diet, which is also a very low carb diet. And I have decided that I am primarily going to try to lean very heavily on the carnivore diet lifestyle, but not exclusively. So certainly, the furthest extreme that I will go is keto friendly. So I'm going to stay in ketosis. I'm going to stay keto, but the difference being that I'm not going to try to avoid drinking tea, coffee, or hot cacao. All right. Well, I'm going to avoid coffee, but not because of any.
Because you don't like
I just don't like dirt water. That's all. But I will drink hot cacao, which has some carbs in it, and I will drink tea and other stuff like that. I will have stevia for sweetener, which is a plant situation, which carnivore says stay away from that even. And I will eat pistachios and cashews, and I will limit my total carbs to no more than 30 carbs per day.
Okay, say that again about what you just said about sweetener? What?
So on carnivore, they tell you to stay away from any plant-derived sweetener.
Oh.
If you're on carnivore,
right.
you don't want
and
any.
So you're not.
I'm not sticking to that.
Okay.
So that's why I'm not pure carnivore.
Okay, I'm just making sure I was processing properly what I thought you said.
Yeah,
so,
but most of my meals will resemble carnivore. So I will be eating lots of meat, primarily beef and steak, ground beef and steak and well, those things. But I will also eat bacon and eggs, which is all carnivore. I will eat chicken. I will eat fish, which is all carnivore. I will eat butter. I will eat beef tallow. That's all carnivore. I will eat cheese, which is still considered carnivore for some people. Some people are like, yeah, you want to stay away from that. I'm not going to stay away from cheese, but
why would you?
But I still can. But some people still consider cheese carnivore.
I understand.
But where I would stray slightly outside of the bounds of carnivore is that I will drink grape Zevia, which is a carbonated flavored beverage that is sweetened with stevia. Since it's a plant-based situation of sweetener, that's not carnivore, but it is very much zero carb, keto friendly. So that's one area where I will stray outside of that. Currently, I have a bag of salted cashews upstairs and a bag of salted pistachios. And you know what? I enjoy those. And they're definitely keto friendly if I limit the quantity, because those carbs can pile up pretty quickly, but still 1 or 2 ounces of cashews or 1 or 2 ounces of pistachios, totally keto friendly, completely non-carnivore. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm like, I don't need to be complete carnivore, although I am considering backing off. I'm thinking about. I haven't made a decision, but when this bag of cashews is done, not buying cashews for a while, or maybe potentially ever. I don't know, but I'm thinking about once these cashews are gone, I may stick with the pistachios, because pistachios are much lower in carbs. But who knows? I might, when I get to the end of I've got a stash of pistachios upstairs, but once I get to the end of those, I may cut that out and just see how that is. I haven't made a decision, but it's not absolutely important for me to say I'm carnivore, but I am liking the carnivore stuff. And the one thing that I'm liking about this, and one thing that I'm being very intentional about, is trying to find all sorts of foods that I used to love and create substitutes for it. So before I would try to find, what is a Reese cup that I can eat as a snack. So Quest makes a really great, very like 2 net carb Reese cup. And there's Quest.
It's a peanut butter cup.
That Reese peanut cup. Yeah, it's a peanut butter cup. You get what I'm saying. But there were these Quest cookies, and there were these amazing muffins that you could get that are keto friendly from Costco, and just all of these different sweet treats and stuff like. And it's like I'm not looking for sweet treats, and that's one of the things that's going to shift very heavily in this approach to this season of my ketogenic lifestyle. Is I'm just done with all the sweet snacks. If I stay satiated on a high fat ketogenic diet, I shouldn't have cravings for those. And one of the things that I heard recently is like, listen, if you're ever craving something sweet, all you have to do is go eat a high-fat snack and eat as much as you want until you're not hungry. And then, boom, that desire for that sweet treat will go away. And I have noticed that to be true. And if I find that I'm hungry, it means that I've probably had too much protein and not enough fat in the percentages. So, yeah. Back on keto. And I have been off keto since, and we discussed this in Family from the Heart, since July of this year when we were in Sedona. And I don't regret that decision. The results that I have as far as what my weight has been, as far as my physical health, and all the other energy levels and all sorts of other things, those results were perfect for the system that I was using over the last 6 months of eating. Mm-hmm. And I have decided, do I want to continue those results moving forward? No. Do I like the trend of where it's going if I continue? No. And did I go multiple years on keto and have an incredible experience physically, mentally, and so many other levels? Yeah. And I'm like, I want more of that. So that's why I'm back, and that's why I'm doing it. And I'm not under any impression that this is going to, quote unquote, keep me from experiencing anything else that might show up physically. But, this is just my desired situation. This is what I've got. So I'm back to keto. That's what I wanted to share in this episode. And then I have one final topic for this episode of the Train with Cliff audio journal. And that is, I'm starting to go into a new hobby.
Okay.
And it's the first person that I can blame for this new hobby is Christopher Voss.
Yes.
The second person I can blame for this hobby is Steaphnie Ravenscraft.
I'm fine with that.
And that hobby is getting back into vinyl records. So several months ago, my friend Christopher Voss, unannounced, without notifying me anything was coming, I just opened the door one day. Leah was going crazy because the Amazon guy showed up. And at the front door were 2 packages. And one package was a record player. Now, granted, it was one of those record players that are fairly inexpensive, but still good enough that you can play a record on without damaging it. And and it's got little built-in speakers, and it's like if you don't have a record player and you have a record, here's a way you could play it. So it looks nice. It's a very nice looking record player. But now it's fun to watch because I've been watching lots of YouTube videos about record players and which ones are the good ones and what features are there and how to set them up and all this. And do you know who's recording these videos these days?
Who?
Kids who are like 25 and 30 years old who had never had it. It's like literally they're sitting there talking about their first ever vinyl records, and they've had it for they've had their turntable for the last 1 to 3 years, and they're now the experts telling you all but you know what? They've actually invested the time, effort, and energy. Like, I never really understood what people were talking about, but man, this is such a great experience. And the thing is when my mom married my dad, my stepdad, who is now my dad, long story.
That's another episode somewhere along the way.
It's been told many times, but I know some people don't know the story, but that's okay. That's not the point of this story.
Your dad.
But when my mom married my dad, I remember moving in to this apartment that was in the basement of the office building that my grandfather owned. And my dad had another space in that building that was his space. It's kind of like like man caves before there were man caves.
Okay.
And in that office space or whatever, he had set up the most awesome stereo system. Like, I would say probably
It's the office building that was over on Oak Street?
Oak Street, yeah.
Okay.
Right next to where
Megan is now.
Yeah.
Or Megan works now.
Yep. So, but there's this, he probably had several thousands of dollars worth of high fidelity phonographic equipment. So he had the receiver, he had the amplifier, he had the turntable, and he had these Dahlquist speakers. I think they were DS79s or 12s or something like that. But it was amazing. And he had a great vinyl record collection. And I remember when they moved into the house on not Jurgens. What was that street? What's the street that Clifton Avenue, and it's I can't remember the name of it. It doesn't matter. Anyway, when they moved into the house, I remember that being up in the attic and stuff like that. And I just remember listening to vinyl records all the time. And then when I was a kid, my mom and dad bought me a record player that was not quite as good as the record player over there that Christopher got me. It was even a little bit less quality than that. But I remember playing these little 45 Disney, actually they were 33 and a third, but smaller records of Disney stories, read to me stories in these little books. And I used to play so records have always been a big deal for me. Then when we moved to Northern Kentucky and when we bought our home in Erling, or when they had the bi-level, that's when my dad's stereo equipment went down into the family room. And this is my teen, like my tween years and my early teen years. That system that was in the apartment building, that system, primarily, I was the only person using it, right? So here I am. Imagine me, 12, 13 years old, all right? And I literally have thousands of dollars worth of high fidelity equipment. And I have the most extensive vinyl record collection. And my mom had this big, massive box of 45 records. It was just insane how much music and it was all vinyl. And I'll never forget the first CD that I got and all this other, that my dad got. But anyway, I remember that. But I have such a vivid, visceral connection to vinyl. And when I remember my parents got me my own stereo set for my room, and I would say that set was even better than the set that arrived from Christopher, because the vinyl was still a big thing when I was a teenager. This is me, turning 13 years old, 14 maybe at this point. And so I have my own record player in my room, and that's when I start buying. I've got Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, and I've got Led Zeppelin 4, which is the Stairway to Heaven vinyl album, and I've got Bob Seger album, and I've got all these vinyl albums. And I remember the feel of buying an album, and it's like, listen, I just paid a lot of money for this, and there's no access to tons, like unlimited music. If there's one thing that Apple Music and streaming music and Spotify had done for me, it's actually decreased the amount of time I spend enjoying music. There's something about this unlimited, I have access to everything, that takes away from somehow some of the pleasure of sitting down and it's completely ruined my experience of enjoying an album. The last time I can remember enjoying an entire album, and it's not an album. It was streaming music, but still called an album. Was Taylor Swift.
Reputation.
Reputation. That's the last time I'm like listened. It's like, wow, I've listened to every song on here, and I enjoy most every song. But man, there's not. I remember the days of listening to Dark Side of the Moon or Pink Floyd's The Wall. It's like those things you sit down and you're holding and you're looking at the artwork, and sometimes there's written stuff on it. The lyrics might be on the cover. It's like there's something about that experience, and there is something about I'm going to say the warmth and the depth of the sound from a vinyl album. Now, granted, even the most expensive album might have a little click and pop or something like that. That can be avoided with high quality stylus and with good cleaning and calibrated everything. I mean, but still, even in the best scenario, there might be a little crack, snap, crackle, and pop. But there's something about the warmth of that experience. And so I have a nostalgic and I have a very visceral feel of what vinyl sounds like. So I am so gracious of this gift from Christopher Voss. And he bought me also an album. That was the second package. And he bought me ABBA Gold. He knows that ABBA is one of my favorite bands ever. So I put this ABBA album on there and I listened to it over the speakers. And I'm like, wow, this is cool, but this is not a pleasurable listening experience. Does that make sense?
For you, yes.
The quality for me is...
I listened to it. I enjoyed it just fine. But Cliff has these special ears.
I do have special ears. So I'm like, And so then I decided, it's like, okay, well, there's a headphone output on this thing. Why don't I output that to my high quality speakers? And I'm listening and I'm like, okay, that stylus is not sitting in the proper position deep in the groove to pull out the recorded sound that's actually in that groove on that record. It just does not have that capability. The stylus is just not designed for that. I mean, it's designed to give you a feel of what's on that album, but it doesn't hug the groove. All right. So by the way, a stylus for a record, you can get one for as little as $19, and that's probably about the price of the stylus that comes on that record player that I'm referring to that came, which is perfectly fine. It's great for the average person out there. But I was just looking at a stylus. I'm not going to invest in, and I did invest in a turntable that comes with a replaceable stylus. I got the LP 120 USB BT from Audio-Technica. Very low cost. It was $399. I did want the Bluetooth ability, but I also got some shelf speakers with 66 watts to start off with. I just wanted to keep this whole thing right around the $600 range investment level for my next step up. However, I'm already looking. So the stylus that's coming on this turntable that I just purchased, you could buy that stylus for $79. And I've looked at the reviews. I've listened to people, who have done reviews of this stylus. It's a decent stylus, and it's probably every bit as good as what was on the stylus on my record player that I got when I was 13 years old. So it'll definitely give me at least that level of depth. However, if I wanted to go to the level of depth of music, you're looking at about $169 all the way up to as much as $500, $600 for a stylus that would give me the level of quality that I remember listening to on my dad's system. Now, I'm not going to go there right away, but I'm interested in getting back into this nostalgic vinyl experience of music. And so, yeah, I decided to do that. Now, the thing is I got this gift from Christopher Voss, and I'm incredibly thankful. I'm going to give Stephanie that record player as soon as my new turntable comes in. And I probably would not have done this, but Christopher sent me a second ABBA album recently. Thank you for that, Christopher. And I went and purchased a handful of used albums at a used store. My experience has not been amazing with that yet. And I bought a nostalgic Peter Pan Read to Me Disney thing. I was really bummed that it's a scratched record. So I had a little bit of a sour taste, and I kind of just like, I don't know that I want to get into this vinyl hobby. But I've been thinking about it, and when that second gift came in from Christopher, I'm like, okay, well, these things are just going to sit here and take up space and collect dust. But then the other day, I was in bed. Stephanie and I are in bed. I was browsing through TikTok, and I came across this Children of the Stones official album that is the soundtrack of the music from this 1968 children's sci-fi television show from the UK. And I'm like, Stephanie knows how big of a deal Children of the Stones is to me. And if you want to know about Children of the Stones and our experience with Children of the Stones over Christmas, you may want to check out Family from the Heart, episode number 443, and you might find out about at least a portion of that title of the episode. The Stoned Children might refer to Children of the Stones. So, anyway, Stephanie, I showed this to Stephanie. I say, Stephanie, you're not going to believe this. Check this out. And I send it to her, and she goes and purchases it. And that was one of my Christmas gifts. And oh my gosh, I was blown away. And so I came down here that night, and after opening my Christmas gift, and I put it on this record player, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. But man, what could that sound like if I literally had a nice turntable with a better stylus and, some nice powered speakers, at least 66 watts, just to get me started. Not that I won't upgrade later, but just to get me started. And so I began this search, and I bought myself an Audio-Technica turntable for $399. I bought myself $200 desk, or what do they call it, shelf speakers, and the speakers come tomorrow, the turntable comes Wednesday, and my cleaning kit for the records comes on Thursday, and I have the longest list of vinyl albums that I want to purchase. So I know you're eager to hear what's on Cliff's shopping list. Aren't they, Stephanie?
I think they might be.
All right, so here's what I got. So my lists, and I create a separate order in here for records to buy. And I do, by the way, I do not intend to buy all of these albums off of Amazon. I'm just using Amazon for my list of what I'm looking for if I go into a record store and other places. So anyway, I want to get The Sumner's Tales, which is by Sting. I had that as a CD when it first came out, and I love it. Synchronicity by The Police. This is an album that I never listened to when I was a kid, but I listened to this entire thing many times as a workout playlist on streaming music. So Synchronicity by The Police. I love it's a live album. It is so awesome. I'm pretty sure that's the live album. Anyway, I want to get They Might Be Giants Flood album. I had that as a CD, and I love almost every single song. I've got 1, 2, 3 Violent Femme albums on here. Now, I only ever had those as CDs in the past. I don't have the CDs anymore. And there's not a Violent Femmes album in existence where I would not sit down and enjoy every single song. I'm a massive Violent Femmes fan. Let's see here. So Bob Seger's Greatest Hits is on here. Tapestry by Carole King. Hotel California by the Eagles, Greatest Hits of Queen, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Abbey Road from the Beatles, both, Simon and Garfunkel's Greatest Hits, Nirvana's Nevermind, Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet, The Magic of ABBA. Even though I have 2 albums that Christopher Voss has sent me, he's given me ABBA Gold and another ABBA. There's not a song on The Magic of ABBA that I don't already have on vinyl. But there's a reason why I want Magic of ABBA album. And it's because the Magic of ABBA album, or actually cassette tape it for me, which I have the cassette tape right behind me. Is it still there? Do you see the cassette?
Yes,
the Magic. So I actually have the exact version of the Magic of ABBA in cassette form, but I would love to have it as an album. I mean, if this is a hobby for collector. What?
I said that'd be nice because there's no way to play a cassette in this house.
I know. The Huey Lewis and the News, the sports album, I had that cassette when I was a kid. And then I don't need to explain to anybody why I want Pink Floyd's The Wall or Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon or Led Zeppelin 4. I mean, come on. And then there's the greatest hits of the Eagles, and then Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. I want Bob Marley's Legend album, Michael Jackson's Thriller album. I had that vinyl when it first came out. Purple Rain by Prince. And that right there is what I'm going to start with in my collection. Now, I have not purchased any of those albums that I just mentioned yet, but those will be my purchases over the coming months ahead. Anyway, what are you laughing at?
Megan, loved hearing I was right.
Oh. Okay, so my thought about this is when I'm thinking about spending all my slush fund money, because I've been saving up for several months and it's been building, why would I spend all this money on vinyl when I have several $1,000s of Sonos speaker system equipment, and I've got that massive subwoofer down there, and every single album that I just mentioned to you, every single song on every album, I could literally pull up right now and I could play and it would sound every bit as good as what my dad's Dollquest speakers, which, by the way, I used to own those when we first got married. I had those Dollquest speakers and I had a lot of that equipment. I don't know why I ever got rid of. I know what I blew them. I blew them up. I had them turned up so high that they were smoking, and we blew them up. Anyway, so I'm thinking I could sit there and listen to all of this right here, right now. I could just pick one and add it as a playlist. It won't sound the same, but it won't have.
It won't feel the same.
It won't feel the same as I just went up and I dropped a needle, and the little crack pop sound of vinyl, and the fact that, you know what, this isn't a smorgasbord of anything and everything. It's like this is a meditative moment of being present. I think this is going to be like listening to vinyl albums will be almost as a mindfulness practice of being in the moment. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It does.
And that's kind of that's kind of what I've been vibing with.
Very good.
So there we go. That's an episode of the Train with Cliff Audio Journal podcast. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to share with you what's going to happen in 2024, because it's going to be the absolute most incredible year of my life. I can already tell. New, exciting things on the horizon, and I can't wait to share with you more. Thank you so much for tuning in, and many blessings. Until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level.
Mindset Answer Man.
Woo! All right, you ready for your next show? Oh, by the way, let's see here. Charles said, greetings. He says, greatest hits, Simon and Garfunkel. Yes. And he says, vinyl is old school. Many say the sound from vinyl is better quality, perhaps the snap, crackle, pop. Yep. All right, are you ready?
He's a chair hog.
He is a chair hog. All right, this is episode 63 of your show.
Yes, it is.
Tell me when you're ready.
I need a minute.
Is Megan coming over?
Eventually, yes. We got wedding stuff to do. Okay, this needs to stay closer and uncapped so that I can.
This is all you.
I know. Not really. I said the whole reason that we were going to do it was so that I could. Right?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm ready. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Thriving Mosaic. I'm Steaphnie Ravenscraft. And I'm doing this just like I did the last episode. As a matter of fact, it's only been about an hour since I wrapped that. And I am live streaming the recording of this podcast. And I'm also in studio with Cliff.
Hello again.
I'm actually glad that you're here for this one because I think that maybe you might be able to.
Do you want me to be more participatory in this episode?
I do.
Excellent.
I do.
All right, good to know. I will do so.
Because I'd really like the bouncing, the conversation that to flow from this. Not only to have your insights and your but maybe so you can probe me in a way that ask questions. And am I making sense?
You are making sense. So first question I have for you then is this. Stephnie.
Yeah.
You have recently benefited from signing up for 2 different online programs. Can you tell everyone about those 2 programs and what impact they've had on you already?
Okay. The first being, I have been a many year user and lover of the Soul Planner, SOL Planner. And it was such a beneficial tool for me when I was managing many different schedules. So when I started using the Soul Planner, everybody still lived at home. I was managing, Megan. At this point, Megan might have been driving herself, but if not, it was right around that time when she would have started driving. But I was still, her work schedule, her dance schedule, and then whatever Matthew's robotics and whatever he was doing, whatever Jane was doing at the time. Like, I was still managing everyone's schedule on top of mine. And, well, they were my schedule, basically. But, what was that? Sorry. Leo shook off and rattled rather loudly against the leather chair. And so it was a great tool for me. The weeks were broken down by it was broken down by week, and then each day was broken down by hour, and
it's a physical planner.
It's a physical planner. I keep many planners. That's the other thing. Well, I keep many calendars. I keep one planner. And that's a big difference.
If I'm listening to this as one of your audience members, I'm like, okay, tell me what versions of calendars do you have and where and what format?
I use a Google Calendar. That's what I use for if Cliff creates something and invites me, that goes right into my calendar. And same thing with Megan. Megan sometimes will create a calendar event and invite me, and that goes right into my calendar. It goes to my email. I can accept, decline, change this time, whatever. And so those are, if I'm out and about and I need to add something to my calendar, I have that opportunity without carrying my 8.5 by 11 planner for the whole year with me everywhere I go. And So I use Google Calendar. I use it to make appointments when I'm not at home. I use it to have other people make appointments and invite me for things that I do with other people. And in the same aspect, I use it to make appointments and invite other people. Like,
so Google Calendar is
so
one.
I use Google Calendar. I have a family calendar hanging in the kitchen, and this I used when I got it, so I knew where everybody was at all the time. Now I use it so everybody can know where I am all the time, although it's not used. So really, I hang. It's still hanging in the kitchen. It's part of the kitchen decoration, so I'm not going to take it down. And it gives me a daily, like I can be sitting at the kitchen table eating or reading or whatever I'm doing and look up and be like, oh, I have to go do this, or, you know. So I usually only put appointments where I'm out of the house on that calendar. And then I take all of that and I input all of that information into my physical handwritten planner.
Which is your soul planner.
Which is my soul planner.
Okay.
And so when I first started using the soul planner, it was the best utensil that I had. It was the best tool that I had in keeping track of everyone's schedules, which were, in fact, my schedule. Many years I spent so much time in the car because I was just driving everybody everywhere they needed to be. That was my schedule. But then as I started moving out of, they're driving themselves, they're doing their own things, they're teenagers, they're out of the house and all these things, I really started using the planner as it was intended, which is really written for entrepreneurial women to plan your goals, break down your goals, and reach your goals. So I have been using it, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not confident in the way that I'm using it. And this summer, in the summer of 23, Sarah Light, who is the creator of the Soul Planner, offered a course or a workshop. I don't know what she calls it.
Let's call it a workshop.
We'll call it a workshop. I think that's probably the best.
Online workshop.
It's an online workshop. That's actually probably the best thing for. And called Frazzled to Focused. Take your frazzled life and bring it into a focused life where you can learn how to set goals and then break them down into workable actions and achieve them.
And this was a free workshop?
It was not a free workshop. Okay. I don't remember how much I paid. I think it was under $200.
Okay. So let's just say about $200. And what was included? How was it delivered?
It's through Zoom. Like they were Zoom calls. And
how many?
I think it was 13 weeks, but there are not 13 calls because like 1 week was considered a catch-up week, so there was no call, but you did the like if you were behind on the work anyway, it was a catch-up week, and so I think that there are 11.
So it ran for 13 weeks, but there were 11 calls.
I believe that's correct.
And what was the calls like? What was the format of the call?
That's a very good question.
I know. I'm good at asking questions, aren't I?
No, I'm telling you, that's a very good question because I only actually made it to 2 calls.
Oh, no.
I got more. So one of the things that she offered with the first, I don't know if this is coming with the second, but there were. So it wrapped in August or September, maybe. And then it wrapped, I think it wrapped in August. And then there were 3 check-in calls. So at the end of September, end of October, end of November, there were check-in calls so that you could check in and how are you working on your third quarter goals and, all of these things. I got more out of those 3 calls than the entire program. Now, I say that. And That's not that I didn't get things out of the program, because I was reading the emails, I was watching some of the replays, but I only actually made it to one live Zoom call in that first course that I paid to attend.
And a lot of that just has to do with the fact that we were in Sedona when it started.
Yes.
And then when you got back, there was all sorts of...
So we were in Sedona for the welcome call. And then the week after that, I was in Tennessee with McKenna. That's actually the only call that I made.
Oh.
And then it was every call was happening on Thursdays at 2 p.m. And when I signed up, I was like, I can do Thursdays. Thursdays are no problem. And then I was out of town, and then I was out of town, and then it was my birthday, and then it was our anniversary, and then it was this, and then it was every single Thursday through the course of that first Frazzled to Focused, I was actually unavailable to make the call. And but I was still reading the emails that were coming in. I did not watch all of the replays, but I did watch several of the replays. And so the one call that I was actually on, it was a short time of Sarah talking, telling a story, working through something that was about the topic of that call. And then we broke into breakout rooms. And so I was in a breakout room with 2 or 3 other women. I don't remember. And we talked about the goals that we were writing down, and and then we came back into the room, and she did a like a live coaching with one person on the call, and so that's how that one call that I was live on. I can't even recall the replays that I would be really. It was the check-in calls that meant the most to me for that first Frazzled to Focused. Now, I did choose to participate again in the second that she will offer, and we start the welcome call is the morning after Megan's wedding, and so I was just emailing with Sarah, I think yesterday, that I'm really looking forward to it. And one of the things that I love about one of the ways I love to use in my soul planner is to make my pens match. Every month is a different color, and so I match my pens to that color. And so we had talked on a call about pens. I emailed Sarah and asked her for the link to the ones that she was telling me about in that call. And the welcome call is the morning after Megan's wedding. And I was like, I might be groggy, but I will be there. Yeah. And in this next Frazzled to Focus that she's going to have starting in January, all of the calls are not at the same time, on the same day at the same time. She has moved them around for people's availability. So I really like that, except for the ones that are going to be at 8 p.m. because I go to bed at like 9. But I'm really looking forward to that. And I have an affiliate link if you are interested in joining this program. You could sign up and join me in this program for January with my affiliate link. Can I post it in this podcast? I know I can post it in the show notes for the podcast. I don't know if it will work on YouTube or anywhere else, but
you can't put it on show notes. Just email Stephnie.
Just email me and I will send it to you. That works too.
StephnieRavenscraft.com.
Perfect. So I'm really excited about that. That's coming up. And
I just want to say real quickly, I know that you had, prior to doing those few, what did they call them, the catch-up calls or whatever?
Yeah.
That you did 3 of those, and I popped in and I kind of just peeked around the corner to see what was happening on the screen. You were in there, and it was Sarah Light was leading the meeting. And there were you and a handful of other people on, kind of like mastermind group style,
Absolutely.
like the way that our next level mastermind. And everybody gets its turn to talk about, hey, what's going on and what are your goals? What, do you have any questions for me? And so it was, one of the things that I noticed is just, like you said, you may have paid $200 for this course and only attended one of those sessions live. But what I noticed and what I witnessed is just how much you started getting done after sitting down with those women and getting clarity about how you're planning your days, how you're planning your weeks. And I just saw a lot of momentum built from that.
Yeah, I was more productive. I feel like I was more productive in the last 3 months of the year, which I can attribute to
Hands down.
these check-in calls, and than I was in the entire year.
All right, second program.
So the second program, this one is fun because I had never heard of
Edie
before. So it's Dr. Edie Wadsworth. I had never heard of her before, but an ad popped up on my Facebook feed, and it was promoting her Made for More 2024 is what it was called. And so I looked at I read the ad, I read through the ad, and it was only $7. And I'm like, what the heck is she offering for $7? And then I got to, so that's what got me. That's what led me in. I was very curious, and I got to the bottom, and it says you can upgrade to the all access pass for $27. And I'm like, what the heck is she offering for $27? Like, what is it? And so you looked at it, and then you're like, it's all online. It's all in Kajabi. Like, you're going to have, and I was like, cool. Well, I'm gonna invest in this because I'd like to see what it is.
And it's only $27.
And it's only $27.
And I remember telling you, it's like, if nothing else, see what she's selling. I said,
right.
Don't be surprised, because be completely prepared. She is going to be selling something
absolutely
during this program. Because you don't
offer something for $27 if you are not upselling something else. Like,
exactly.
even I know that.
Yeah. So I said, but if nothing else, it would be great for you to witness how somebody is offering something for $7, but with an opportunity to upgrade to $27. And then how does one deliver content in a way that might be valuable and not overly salesy, and then make an offer at the end, and the right people who are a good fit for that program will invest in that program. If nothing, I believe there's chance, because one of the things Stephanie she's like, I'm interested in finance. I said, you may learn and you may find somebody that you enjoy, but if for nothing, for $27 just to see her process, it would be worth it. And so,
right. And so, we signed up on, and we were at a restaurant, with Megan and Matthew having dinner. I think Bella was working that night. We were chatting with her, and hit purchase, and had instant access to everything that was in Kajabi. And can I just stop and say I'm proud of myself that I can even pronounce Kajabi? Just anyway. So had instant access to everything that was in Kajabi, and I got started the next day and did two of the videos that were in. One was just like a 15-minute welcome, and then we got crazy into Christmas preparations, and so I had not continued with the course in Kajabi as of yet. But it was not just a course in Kajabi. I was actually getting this 3-day workshop. So what is in Kajabi, I believe, is last year's 3-day workshop of the same. So it would have been Made for More 2023. Sorry, my nose is itching, and I'm distracted by it. So So I have held off on finishing the course as is in Kajabi, and on Wednesday, the 28th, I joined for the live call of the Made for More 2024, knowing full well that I wouldn't be able to join on Thursday for the second call because I had a details meeting for the wedding with the venue. So Megan and Jacob and I already had, that was already on the calendar. And then on Friday, I started an hour early and I watched the replay of day 2 and then joined for the third call. And I will tell you that I got, well, first I'm going to tell you that during day 3, I was inspired and really wanting to do the upsell that was the course of her life mentoring school. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is basically a coaching. I've signed up for group coaching.
Right.
Okay. And I think it was $14.97, which if you haven't gotten that.
I got it.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
So basically, we learned. So if she had an ad. You can sign up for $7 and participate in this program live, or for $27, you get access to the recordings from last year, and you'll have access to participate live this year. That's the $27. And yes, this 3-day workshop is a promotion for a high ticket. It's relative, but in a high ticket offer of $14.97 for participation in a 12-month program called Life Mentoring School. Correct.
And so during that third call, I was already feeling like this was something that I wanted to do. On a side note to that, like where that led me from was I have been how can I expect to coach people if I am not being coached myself? And was a question that I have been asking myself. And so this was, number one, I was already inspired. I like her vibe and her vision. And so when a coaching opportunity was put in front of me, I was like, this is something I would definitely like to try for 2024. I say all of that to tell you that the insights on day 1 for the Made for More 2024, I believe I have already got the $14.97 value out of the day 1.
Yes. I would agree.
If over the course of 2024, I get no further encouragement, insights, or motivation, I've already got what I paid for.
Yes.
More than the $27. What I'm doing. So I'm sitting on the call. Please know, I've never heard of Edie Wadsworth. I don't know her message. I don't know what she is teaching. I really am going in blind. And so on day 1, she starts talking about our true selves and our false selves and the dreams. Do we have dreams? Can we make dreams now that our kids are gone? All of these things I'm resonating with, and she's not teaching me anything that I already don't know and believe. Okay. And so I text you and I'm like, this is a lot like what we do for Free the Dream.
Yep.
And at another point, I think I told you, I am resonating with her the way you do with Tony Robbins.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I just want to stay there. You and I have talked about several times. You've mentioned, you know what? I wish I had somebody that I looked up to and learned from the way that you do from Tony Robbins and some of these other people like Rich Lidfin and others.
Right. Yes. Now, I did sit through the Rich Lidfin 2 workshops that you just did, and I enjoy Rich Lidfin.
Yes.
It's that other guy in
Steve
the book
Chandler.
who I don't get. But that's fine.
It's fine.
We're not all meant to resonate with everybody, and
Yes.
that's cool.
Contrast in life is good.
Yes. So I'm already texting you this is information that I know, this is information that I believe. And
you're resonating.
And I'm resonating. So I'm already feeling positive about the 3 days. It was 3 hours. I really was committing the 3 hours. Okay, Leo wants you now. And I think he might actually want out of here because he's also been scratching at the door. So he's like, look, Mom, Dad, we've been down here for about 3 hours now. I'm quite finished. Let's go. Okay. On day 1, here's my first insight that I got about myself. I am uninspired by my own life.
Which is crazy, but I get it, and I've witnessed your lack of being inspired by your own life.
Okay. I'm just living my life. To me, it's just my life. I see things I like them, I do them. I see things I don't like them, I do something else. That's just
inspiring.
That's just my life.
It's inspiring.
I understand that, but to me, it's just my life. And so I had 2 recent encounters with friends, and I haven't asked permission, but I'm going to give some general, just keep it very general. One is that I got a text message from a friend who says, "Hey, I just listened to this episode. It was the episode of Thriving Mosaic where I reshared my personal story, which I think might be episode 49. I'm not exactly certain." And
go ahead. I'll look it up.
So he's going to look it up. Or maybe it's 51. Anyway, it's in there somewhere. But so I just reshared a podcast episode that I had done in 2008 where I shared my personal story.
Was it The World Turned Upside Down?
Yeah, maybe. What's the next one?
All right. So
anyway, it's not back farther than that. Oh, Healing from Past Trauma. It's
that
episode 49. That's what I said.
Okay, episode 49, Healing Past Trauma of the Thriving Mosaic podcast.
Yes. So my friend texts me and says, I just listened to this. It never ceases to amaze me how inspiring you are. I love that you are healing from your past, and that you use that to help heal others. Our dog is so done with being down here. Anyway, and then we had a conversation back and forth. I asked how her family was. She gave me an answer. I said something in the, she just had this done, but it's not stopping her from doing her things. She had a surgery, and it's not stopping her from doing her things. And she said, yeah, I've learned this from another badass woman. Does that mean I have to have an explicit tag
you're
now?
Good.
And she's referring to me.
Of course she is.
And I don't think of myself as this, like, I don't always remember that I am also this person.
Yeah.
Does that make, are you making, okay.
Yes. I've witnessed your lack of recognition of this.
So that is one.
Yep.
And then just this week, I was hanging out with my friend Sarah, who a lot of people know who have listened to this for a long time. Sarah and I used to podcast together.
Full-time mom
and Authentic Life Radio.
Yeah.
And Sarah and I were talking. We were just sitting talking. We're talking about something that her daughter is going through that I resonate with. And so she asked me a specific question. I responded. And she says, Stephnie, it never ceases to amaze me how strong you are. How you came out of one set of circumstances and went into another set of circumstances and came out of those as well. Like, it never ceases to amaze me how strong you are.
Yeah.
It's just my life. I just didn't like the way things were happening, so I changed them.
Inspiring.
I know, but to me, it's just my life. Anyway, so I am trying to remember that my life inspires other people. The things that I have chosen to break free from, the things that I have just chosen to do differently than which again is breaking free, because I'm changing generational trauma. I'm changing generational habits. I am breaking free from things, and that is inspiring.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So, anyway, the whole cost of both of these programs of entering into this coaching in 2024 and the $27 that I paid to do this workshop was paid for in having the mental realization that I find my own life uninspiring, but my life is freaking inspiring. Yeah. I have done things. I have healed from things. I have said, this stops here so many times. And I don't always acknowledge that means something.
Right.
Okay? So that is my first one. My second one is that I'm still making other people's dreams come true and putting my own in the back.
Right.
And here's what I mean by that. Because it's not that I'm not making my dreams come true, but I've made my dreams what other people's dreams are. No, I have made my dreams helping other people's achieve theirs. I made my dream to pay for Megan and McKenna and Matthew to go to college. Matthew chose not to. That is fine. But for the semester that the 2 semesters that he did go, I did make it my dream to do that, to help that to make that happen for him financially. That's what I'm saying. Megan wanted to go to college and have that experience. I made my dream paying for that. In which case you took that on and made that your dream as well. McKenna wants to go to college. I have made my dream to pay for that. You have your entrepreneur pursuits. I stand beside you in every step of the way. I help make your dreams happen.
Mm-hmm.
Megan wants to have her wedding look a certain way, feel a certain way, and be a certain way. I've made it my dream to make that happen. Now, that spurs from a long past experience of mine and my own wedding. Megan didn't make me make this my dream. I chose to make this my dream because of my experience.
Yep.
Right? You're following me?
I do.
So, okay. But I'm still the dreams that I am actively working and seeking toward are still other people's dreams. And I have a whole list of my own dreams that are being put on the back burner so that I can do this. That's my second insight into myself right now.
Yep.
My right now self. And my third, this was, again, almost as powerful as number 1. Actually, it probably was as powerful as number 1. And that is, I am my true self to others, but not to myself. Okay? Meaning that my true self operates and works from love and joy and hope and peace and gratitude and forgiveness and generosity and playfulness and confidence and purpose. I am those things to other people, but I am not those things to myself. Anyway, I have already gotten the value out of the entire workshop, the entire life, and I haven't even clicked on this is step 1
Of the
email of the
school.
Life Mentoring School.
That's awesome.
So I am so excited about 2024. I have been writing down my goals. I have been working. Oh my God, it's so hot in here right now.
You're almost done.
I know, but working through what I want 2024 to look like. I used to choose words that described years. We had the year of providence. I had the year of order. Like, this used to be something that I did a lot. I think 2024's word is just me.
The year of me.
It's just the year of me. It is the year, and that doesn't mean that me isn't going to support everyone else around me. It means that in that support, I'm not going to forget me.
I love that. I love that.
And so it is. This is going to be an exciting year for me. I am so. I've also felt a lot in my coaching and in my mastermind that these are the things that I want to do. This is the work I want to do. And there have been times when I felt like, but I haven't done anything to work on myself since 2012 when I went to Captivating, which is not true.
That's correct.
Which is not true. But there are times when I'm like, I haven't done anything to change myself since 2012. I get stuck in that thought process.
You didn't walk on fire.
I didn't go to UPW and walk on fire. I didn't learn about, all this.
You didn't speak on stage twice at Free the Dream conference.
And that's leading me
Actually,
back to where
times,
I forget and I
years
don't find my own life inspiring. I have done amazing things. I have worked on myself since then, but I get stuck in that pattern.
Up till this point, I
have been stuck in that pattern. That is a thought that I have given feeling, and I have thought enough that it has become a belief. It is a limiting belief. It is untrue. I am changing it.
Love that.
Look
out, world. Here comes 2024, the year of me.
The year of me. And I'm so excited to be working in a program where I'm not only do I have the ability to be coached, but I will be seeing other people. Like, sometimes I don't need to be coached myself. Sometimes watching someone else's coaching is just as valuable, if not more so. And so I'm excited to be part of a coaching program where I'm going to be around other people.
Yep.
Hello. I have really isolated myself over the last several years and been very solitary. I am going to be around other people. This is big for me. And anyway, I am so excited about 2024 and the year of me.
Sweet. Hey, before you wrap up this episode, I imagine you have some open coaching slots, and you're looking for people out there who are ready for maybe their year of me.
Maybe their year of me. And absolutely. So you can reach out to me at Steaphnie, at SteaphnieRavenscraft.com. Because I've signed up for this coaching program, I actually will be moving my calendar around. Yep. So my coaching spots for 2024 are not yet determined.
But if you email,
me, we can we can work what works with us together and come up with that. We could, if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, you'll get the first slot. If you're interested in a mastermind, we get to choose when that happens, and can invite other people in as we go on. But yes, I am. So Steaphnie at StephanieRavenscraft.com. You can reach out to me. Make sure you put coaching or mastermind in the subject line. A lot of people, my email address, I'm unsubscribing from things all the time, but my email address has been sold so many times, and a lot of these marketing things make emails look like they're coming from a specific person.
Yep.
And
so put coaching or mastermind in the subject line. And I'll know it's coming from an actual person and not a bot somewhere. And I would love to help somebody get the awareness and there's another word that I'm thinking of that's not coming, but what I just got, I would love to help somebody else uncover those in themselves. Awesome.
Yes. So it's going to be a powerful year. It is.
I'm so excited. I have witnessed you every time you're sitting down and you're in front of that computer, whether it's a live call or watching a replay. I'm watching you with your notepad in front of you or your planner in front of you and the notes that you're writing. And there's nothing that I love more than as soon as you're off one of those calls, hey, I want to talk with you. I want to share with you these insights that I just got. And I just love that.
Yes. And tomorrow, right? No. Yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow, my pens will be here. So I will start my 2024 soul planner with my brand new pens, writing in what I Megan's wedding, because obviously Friday the 12th is getting marked out. A lot of that week will be marked out as well. And I'm so excited. I've already opened it up, but I have not written my name in it yet, because actually I think I did. I wrote my name in it when I did my unboxing, but everything else will wait until the new pens are here. They'll be here tomorrow and I can get started on 2024.
Sweet.
Yes. So thank you guys so much. If anybody is interested in reaching out for more information about coaching or my new mastermind group, feel free to email me at Stephnie@StephanieRavenscraft.com. I love you all. Happy New Year. Until next time, do everything you do with purpose.
And there you go.
Do you like how I mixed the two up?
I did. I loved it. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4 podcasts recorded today.
Look at Leo. He's like, can we go now?
What was that? 3 hours, Stephanie.
Yes, I know. I'm burning
3
up in
hours,
here.
4 podcast episodes. Hey, real quickly, I want something for our thumbnail so I can get a thumbnail for us.
Oh.
So I want you to look into this camera.
I'm horrible today. I don't need a thumbnail.
I just want you to
Choose
just
an
look
old
into
one.
just look
Choose
into the
an
camera.
Old one.
That's it.
Okay.
We just needed that cheesy pause. I'll go and pull that out.
Cheesy pause.
Many blessings. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Happy New Year.
And end broadcast.